Covino and Rich.
Are you ready? Honestly, how do I deal with you every day? Get ready. No.
You heard all about it on the radio.
Whoa! Yeah!
Holy mother nugget! And holy mother meatball!
I'm the smartest man alive! You're so ridiculous. What? You're such a fool. Get out of here.
Oh, I'm a disc jockey.
What's a disc jockey?
Here we go. Covino and Rich.
Let's go!
All right, ready to do this today or what?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It's a Tuesday, not a snooze day. Wake your ass up, start making some tacos.
Oh.
Know what I'm saying? Covino, Rich, and Spots, the show. That's right, LeBron. Ayo.
In honor of Razor Ramon.
Ayo. I thought you were doing a bad Balboa impression.
No, the AO is Razor Ramon, not Balboa.
Ayo.
Throw a toothpick at someone today, Razor Ramon style.
No, I'll throw a
Like
whole
a
box
toothpick.
later if I can find one. In honor, 63 years too young, a legend. We are Covino and Rich, and we be rocking out. Let's go! Yeah!
Oh my God! Adios mio.
I'm gonna start off with some shout outs. Thank you, Spotty. Perfect timing.
I felt it.
Lewis Heckler, what's up, buddy? Just don't heckle this guy. Anthony, Levi Andreas. Or as they used to call it, I used to work at a clothes store back in the day, Rich. And all the immigrants used to come in and say, "Excuse me, Steve." They would see my
I
name
say
tag.
Steve.
Steve, do you have levies?
Levies.
I'm like, excuse me? Levies?
Yes,
Levi's.
Levies.
Levi Andreas, Patrick Canedo, Collier Black, Jose Luis Guzman, Kyle, Dirty Sailor 99, Colby Collette, Freddie, Sonia, Doug Homan, Jeffrey Grismer, Andy Albert, Vivian Monge.
Yeah.
King Thaddeus. Thank you guys for your subscription, for being part of this, hanging out with us on the daily while we rip the mics, Covino and Rich style. So yeah, I used to work at a clothes store, and what they would do is they would buy like a buttload of all the smaller size jeans for their immigrant families. They would send them back to their homeland and make lots of money out of it.
Yeah.
They would do it all the time.
Based on that, I think you'll appreciate this clip. I
Levies.
saw our buddy Fabian posted it. Oh wait, two shot. There we go. It's like how Dominicans pronounce gums, brands of gum.
It's very funny, actually. Yeah, it's very funny.
Gum. I got a perfect guy for this one. Let's go. ¿Cómo se llama eso ahí? Oh, papi, eso me lo daba mucho el primo mío. Eso se llama Etra. Y está aquí. ¿Cómo se llama esta aquí? Trident.
Oh, Trident.
Sí, está aquí. Eso se llama chicle.
That's right.
It is. Sí, chicle. Yo, he's right. I'm not even gonna laugh, y'all. It's chicle. Sí, chicle. Y esta aquí. Yo pensé que más me gusta. Winifred.
Winifred.
Oh, Winterfresh. Winterfresh.
Bubu tape.
Oh, not bubble tape.
This is my favorite.
Okay. Y esta aquí. Oh, pero eso es más fácil, brother. Uba, buba.
Booba, booba.
Not Hubba Bubba. Hubba Booba.
Booba.
That's how Dominicans
man.
pronounce gum, everybody.
Oh, how do they pronounce juicy fruit? Now I gotta know.
They pronounce Levi's Levies.
You'll say frute.
I cut it off before juicy fruit.
Y esta aquí. Mi favorito, brother. Juicy fruit.
Pussy fruit.
Hulsi Fru. That's Rich's nickname in the DR. Hulsi Fru.
Ah, there he is. Pussy fruit.
There he is. Hulsi Fru. I could be he.
Juicy
I
fruit.
could be he. Hulsi Fru.
You can call me Big Poppy. No, we'll call you Pussy fruit.
You ever hear Rich's dad eat a steak in the Dominican Republic? Oh, Hulsi. Oh, Jose. Hulsi. Very Hulsi.
Oh, this steak is all.
How you like steak, Mr. Greg? Oh, very Hulsi.
Hussy.
So-
I love Hussy.
Thank you, Levi, who subscribed to our Patreon. I'm rocking. It's not a Levi denim jacket. It's actually a Buck Mason for those of you keeping score at home.
Nope.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Buck
Thanks for
Mason.
all
Is
the
that
feedback.
did the Yankees sign him yesterday?
Sounds like a baseball player.
Buck Mason.
No, actually, all the buzz is Freddie Freeman. It's like the Freddie Freeman drama of the ages.
Thought it was a Buck Rogers.
No. It's an old school. There's a mural of Anthony Mason on my back.
Yeah.
You got to see it. All right. Anyway, it's Covino and Rich. Thank you guys for being here. We got some random news to get to, some friends in need. And how'd you enjoy The Bachelor last night on Monday night?
Dude, I have not really watched much of this season. I've probably watched like 2 or 3 episodes in the background. I used to be way into the show. You made fun of me. I stopped watching the show. You start watching it and start talking about how, it really is like a great social experiment. So years go by. You just busted my balls about it. Now you're a Bachelor fanboy. I have a few observations. I watched last night. And it was fantastic.
The first part of the finale. Tonight is the final episode.
Part 1 of the most dramatic 2-part season finale ever. They're the boy that cried wolf as far as drama goes. I will say that.
You don't need to care about The Bachelor to understand.
Stop it. Don't even say it.
No, I'm serious. The dude, The Bachelor, is his name Clayton?
Yeah.
Clayton, this big goon. He falls in love with 3 women and admits it and tells them all that he's in love with them and then sleeps with 2 of them. And the only reason he didn't sleep with 3 of them is because one found out and she left, or else he would have slept with all 3 of them.
I have thoughts on it.
Yeah, and I'm so confused. I'm like, yeah, so? And then there's a part of me that's like, yeah, that's wrong. He's so wrong. And then the other part of me is like, yeah, but it takes 2 to tango or something like that.
Something like that.
So either way, all you need to know is this dude falls in love with 3 women. A first in Bachelor history as far as I know. I'm newer to the show. But again, he sleeps with 2 of them. He admits it to all of them. One girl leaves, so he didn't get to sleep with her. But it's major drama. And long story short is I think he's going to go after the one he didn't sleep with because that's the one he liked the most. Without giving anything away, we find out tonight.
The one he respected the most, he didn't just flop in the sack with.
Well, that's the thing. He continues to lead these other 2 girls on, right? He's like, I love you both. And I fucked you both. Sorry. I mean, slept with you romantically.
He just wanted the puss.
And he's like, but I think I love the other girl the most. So later, but he's stringing them along the whole time. So it's kind of interesting because I honestly don't know how to feel about it because it's a show and everybody puts themselves in this scenario. So what do you expect? And then you factor in real life feelings in those scenarios. And, I'll be the first to say, yeah, I think it's possible to fall in love or to be torn on 2 people, right? Because people are different. I feel like I've been there. But again, in my younger days, like a teen, like late teens, okay? That's how far we have to go back for me to feel this way. But 3 people? Like, that's kind of wild. I don't know if that's I don't have the heart to even like commit to something like that. I don't have enough heart. Like, 3 people? No. You got to factor in how much I love myself. Then I got my kid. Now, like, 2 people's alive. 3 people? No, I got no more room in my heart for you.
Yeah, no one loves themselves more than you.
Yeah, like, who has the time? So, Rich, what was your takeaway? Because it was kind of confusing to me. Yesterday, again, part 1 of the finale.
My number 1 takeaway was the first time I saw the show and really watched it without Chris Harrison. So it shows I haven't watched in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Jesse Palmer.
It's his first season.
He's like a way handsome, likable guy, but he doesn't command that respect of a Chris Harrison. And I know you might say, it's the host, who cares? But on these finale shows, that's when they become the biggest part of it because they're sort of moderating and deliberating and they're involved. And while he is like a handsome, cool dude, I suppose, former Bachelor himself, had a cup of coffee in the NFL, right? Played for a second. Jesse Palmer.
He had not a lungo. He had like a little shot of espresso.
He had a grande.
What's it called?
Not a venti.
The small
not
shot
a tall.
of espresso?
No, it's just a shot.
He just had a shot.
Yeah, just a shot of espresso.
I mean, successful guy. So, point is, Chris Harrison gets up there and he feels like someone's uncle. Like, oh, there he is, like giving words of wisdom. Like, now you have these women that love you. Or even with the women, there was a vibe that Chris Harrison was like, hey, it's okay, young lady. I look at Jesse Palmer and I'm like, yeah, they could easily want to fuck him instead of The Bachelor because he's too
handsome.
Broy.
And
he's like big bro as opposed to like the father figure of the show.
Yeah, big bro versus father figure. Chris Harrison had this sense of like, you're going to make the right decision, young man.
I thought he did a good job.
No,
though.
he did, but Jesse
Yesterday.
Palmer was like, yo, bro, you're in a pickle,
like-
essentially.
It's like one of my other favorite video categories, my sister's hot friend.
Yeah. Spot, I really do think that Jesse Palmer, not that he's too cool. I'm not giving him that much credit, but he's
Too young. That's all you can say it that way.
He's not what's the word? He's not like
distinguished.
I guess that would be the word. It's not distinguished.
I'll be honest, it's the
Therefore, he
same
doesn't
reason.
garner that respect that Chris Harrison did, and you saw that in the Women Tell All.
It's
when they just kept talking over him the whole time.
it's the same reason why
But Chris Harrison, when he first started,
he was younger, but it was different. Spot. It was a new show, and you had Chris Harrison for over a decade being that authoritative older guy.
maybe
right?
he's not hosty enough. Maybe Jesse Palmer's really is just like a peer.
Chris Harrison was hosty. Jesse Palmer's a little like broasty.
Yeah, Jesse
He's
Palmer.
broasty.
By the
He's
way,
a little broasty.
Jesse Palmer, because he also hosts some like baking championships on the Food Network.
Yeah.
He's a good host.
Oh, he is.
bad.
Spot,
I enjoy
no
him
doubt.
as a host.
He's good, but I'm saying it's the same reason why
So handsome. Though.
if I'm on television, I'm going to host like a cheesy game show or some
You could not handle
corny show.
The Bachelor.
The Bachelor,
He's got an easier gig though because Chris Harrison set up that blueprint on how it's done. He's basically just doing exactly what Chris Harrison sort of did as far as the ins and outs and hosting back and forth.
I did notice that. I almost feel like they, for continuity reasons or laziness, they have him almost saying the same script.
Yeah. It's the
Like,
same sort of
I
delivery.
got like, here we are. We're back on the most dramatic finale ever. In fact, here's the hometown dates. Watch how it went down. Like it's almost like they just took the script from 2 years ago and said, "Don't make it your own. Just do it."
So do you think you could be in love with 3 women at once though? You do?
I do. I think under those scenarios,
Because I do. Because I'm so torn on my feelings of what's right and wrong. Again, real life and expected on this stupid show. I'll turn to Jordan and I'm like, how am I supposed to feel? Because A, I don't want to say the wrong thing, right?
oh, I said the wrong thing last
Oh,
night.
really? Okay.
I
And
did.
B, I really don't know what's right and acceptable in this scenario because, again, the people on the show put themselves in this situation.
Yeah, it's
right?
like when they're all dating early on in a show like this.
Yeah.
They'll do things like, well, let's make sure everyone gets time with him. And in real life, like, I'm not worried about anyone else getting time with someone. People get mad at the other contestants. Meanwhile, the other contestants are just trying to get attention from the dude or the woman, right? Like a lot of times they'll be like, she already had her one-on-one. In her mind, she's like, yeah, I had my one-on-one, but I want more time with this guy.
I was trying to figure out how to feel because, again, that's how confused I am watching this. Jordan was like, he's not in love with, and this guy doesn't know what love is.
No.
He's confused.
He's made mistakes.
I don't
and
think
he's-
anyone knows what love is.
I mean, Hadaway definitely doesn't know what it is, but she's saying he's
You wanna know what love-
confusing lust with love in this show because
Really is?
she's like, how could you be in love with 3 people? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. 3 people is ridiculous. So that's really the point of the
Two is where
conversation.
the limit is. I think you could. I think
No, because you're torn, yeah, between 2 people.
Don't
Like
hurt me.
3? Like you're just being greedy and ridiculous.
Spot. I'm sorry. I don't go to Hadaway. I go to Fat Joe when I want to know what love is. Yeah, sorry.
What's love?
Got to do with it.
So
Oh, that's Tina Turner. Sorry.
Tina
I
Turner
don't care
can
about
touch
Jesse
it.
Palmer
I
and
did
his
it really
loghead.
quick.
I don't even care about Clayton and his loghead. He's the Bachelor. I don't care about any of these logheads. My question is, can you be in love with 3 women? Because that's what this guy claims. He slept with 2 of them. He would have slept with all 3 of them. He admitted it to everybody. Drama show. Drama show.
I agree with Wes in Idaho, who I got his beautiful save the date in the mail yesterday. Did you see that?
Beautiful.
Was that not the most beautiful invitation?
Beautiful. I reached out to him. Did you?
I put it up
I
on
did
the
not.
fridge.
Actually.
thank you for the
I
card.
did not. I just it's a
I put
save,
it on the fridge.
it's a save the date, but it was like some beautiful see-through material with the picture of him, Bree, and her son. Like,
You know what that material was? It was actually from Wes's underwear.
oh
Same
I thought it was
See-through. I thought it was your
woven.
old socks.
I thought it was woven out of his chest hair.
It's actually a part of Bree's nightie.
Oh,
90.
90.
Wes said, falling in love with 3 people is easy. Now, committing and being serious with 3 people, that's impossible.
No,
I don't know what's possible. I've
Oh,
never
then he wrote
been there.
anonymous. I mean, it wasn't Wes.
The energy I feel like the energy it takes to love someone
Right.
No,
cannot be spread across
Love?
three people.
Love.
yeah,
You can
this-
bring. It's like you have a finite.
Out of your mind. No
you
way.
have a finite amount of love, right?
Yeah.
You have three little jars.
I agree, Spot.
And you have a finite amount of love, and you can equally pour all your love into the three jars. So it seems like you love all the people equally, but you're not really loving someone until you dump all your love
you
into
may
that one
care about those
basket.
people because they're in a unique scenario and they're dating. Yeah, you could. Hey, I love the qualities of this person.
Ask me a question.
I'm really loving the qualities of that person, loving the qualities, but like in love with all three. Fuck.
You asked me a question. Let me tell you, my observation is that I didn't watch all year, so I don't know the one-on-ones this guy went on. It's a reality show.
Doesn't matter.
But you can very well fall for someone at the bar. You can meet someone at work. You can meet someone on a stupid dating show. How you fall in love, there's no blueprint. So to dismiss a stupid show and say, oh yeah, okay, meet someone at a dating show, someone could easily say, okay, sure. Meet someone at a bar. Okay, sure. Meet someone at work. No one meets someone in the perfect
game
way.
show would be a little more unconventional, though. I mean, because they're sort of forced.
I met my wife
guys
on our-
forced to
I-
date 30 women.
I met my wife on our radio show. You met your girlfriend in Las Vegas. Spot met his wife when they were teenagers. Like, if you think there's a blueprint, there's not. People meet their significant others in a plethora. Oh, I said plethora of different ways. Now, observations. Chris Harrison had more command than Jesse Palmer, but he's cool and handsome, and he does the job.
But you're talking about the show.
Now
no
the
one
show.
cares
Oh,
about
yeah.
the show.
No.
I'm asking you
Yeah,
a generic question about love.
You asked me my observations. My observations were this guy, for not watching all season, it seems as though it's possible to love multiple people, but he made the tragic mistake. We always talk about it. You never want to overpromise and underdeliver. And this guy, from what I've seen, just from the one episode, was way too quick to tell these beautiful women, like, I love you.
But not only just
Keep
I love
that
you,
shit
he's
to
like
yourself.
screaming it to them, like, I love you. You make me the happiest. I'm in love.
And it's not like, here's the scapegoat, because this has happened in real life and on a TV show.
I think he's in infatuation.
On a reality show or in real life.
Rod Stewart style.
Yeah.
Rod Stewart, right?
Yeah, sure. You can feel a certain chemical reaction. Doesn't mean you're like
Dude,
in committed
the
love.
chemicals between us, like Bush.
Right.
There is
My Chemical Romance.
he seemed to not take the loophole that everyone should say in those scenarios, which is, it's an easy one. Repeat after me. I think I'm falling for you. Because I think I'm falling for you is what everyone says in the beginning of a relationship, because it's a safe introduction to, oh, love is coming soon, but I'm not crazy enough to say it quite yet. How many times have you said to a girl, I think I'm falling for you? He could have said, I think I'm falling for you to all these girls, and he would have been safe. The fact that this knucklehead went to each one of these beautiful young women and was like, I'm in love with you. I love you. I am in love. It makes him look like a jerk off to everyone that he then rejects, Spot. And Covino said it last night. There was 3 girls left. I watched it for the first time last night in maybe in a month. So catch me up. 3 beautiful women remain.
I'm trying to keep it generic.
Yeah, but I think knowing the show is important because it's interesting. 3 girls. Clearly the one he loves the most is the one that was like, wait a minute, you were intimate with the other women? Which then Sarah and I were like, well, is that part of the show or not? Because
that's why I'm confused.
I said to Sarah, but here's the way you don't want to word it.
Why didn't you tell me first?
Here's the way you don't want to word it. Babe, you don't think he should test them out?
Yeah.
So don't say that. Sarah said, a way to rephrase that is, don't you want to explore your compatibility sexually?
I could really simplify this. The guy had his
Overnight dates.
His overnight dates with 2 women. He told them both he loved them, and he banged them both. That's really the truth.
And then the third one, which he loved the most,
that he liked the most, then says to him, listen, I can't go on this overnight date with you if you told these other girls that you love them or had slept with them. He was like, I did. I did. And she's like, well, then now I can. And he's like, well, then why didn't you tell me first? So the real question is, like, is that like who's right there? Should she have told him first?
Who
Isn't it expected?
he's on a dating spot. He's on a dating show. He's on a dating
So
show.
she left the show, and
Who's left?
and she's the one he liked the most.
Who's left? I need to see these girls.
Rachel?
Gabby?
You don't
Gabby.
even know their names.
I don't know.
Gabby's
bro.
the brunette.
Gabby, yeah, Gabby. She's got a weird look going on.
There's a cute little brunette, a cute little blondie, and the one that went home.
Susie's the other one.
Susie's the one that he likes.
Who's the one that didn't get dicked down?
Susie.
Okay.
And she's like the prettiest and cutest,
Susie,
the most special to him. But she was like, look, if you already told them because you had overnights with them that you love them and you bang them, then I can't move forward because if you really loved me, then how could you have done
you
that?
wouldn't have spent the last 2
But I
days.
do love you.
Rookie mistake, but I'm falling for you versus I love you. Mistake number one. He told 3 women he loved them. But I do think part of the show and part of any relationship, you're not going to get engaged to anyone in real life. And they try to say, yeah, I know this isn't real life, it's a reality show, but who the fuck gets engaged in 2022 without being intimate with that person? And then you could say, well, who's intimate with 2 other women right before they get engaged? I don't know. When you're on a reality show and that's your path.
So these are the 3 girls that are left?
Yes. I can't see the one in white, but yeah, it looks like her.
Which one do we like?
He likes the one in white.
He likes the one in
She
white.
dipped. She's like, yeah, if you already bang them and love them, I'm out.
Oh, she was...
Because how could I be the one?
Susie? So that's Susie. That's the one that didn't bang him.
So, dude, then the girl in purple.
I have good perspective. Hold on, let me, because I watched it for the first time.
Okay.
Spot. So the one that he really liked, the one that Covino pointed out,
The white one.
Yeah, the one in the white
The
dress.
one in the white dress.
She was the one that said,
Let's
if
refer
you
to them as
slept,
dress
if you slept
colors.
with the other 2 girls, I can't do this. I'm out. So now it's the brunette and the girl in the middle, right?
Are the other 2 girls the only 2 girls that he banged on the show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So they had 3 overnight dates before he was with the one he loved the most. He got with the other 2. Now the other 2 are left. Here's the dilemma.
Oh, here we go.
Here's the dilemma, Spot. And Covino will back me up on this. Now, the brunette initially was like, because then after the one girl left, follow me. After the one girl left,
of
he
the
was
3.
left with the 2 girls he slept with. Then he's like, I guess it's only right if I tell them I fucked them both. So he's like, ladies, they're like, hey, where's the 3rd girl? He's like, the 3rd girl went home. And they're like, why? And he's like, because I let her know. Oh, this is hard to say. And they're like, what? And he's like, well, she left. Why'd she leave? She left because I told her that I fucked both of you.
And I'm in love with all 3
And
of you.
and I love her, and I love both of you.
Wait, it's all in the body language. Look, he's leaning towards them.
Yeah, so the other 2 girls were
But
devastated.
his crotch is leaning towards her.
But again, that's part of the drama, and it's so real. I don't care what you say about reality TV.
I'm praying.
This dude's in church praying.
He's fucking in tears.
He's
Like
so broken.
I'm a broken man.
It's so funny, man.
Lord help me.
It's so funny, but
His hair is so weak.
my takeaway is this: I
He's
don't know
disheveled
how
now.
to feel,
He has an
or
underbite.
I'm not sure what's right or wrong. I think this guy really misplayed the game.
Everything,
I
yeah.
fucked
Right?
2 other women.
He led people on, and he's really starting to look like a major douche.
What does Dad say? His dad
But-
goes, well, you really screwed the pooch, huh, son?
Yeah, like and it's as far as gossipy pop culture news, it's the biggest thing going.
Oh, yeah.
And tonight is the final episode.
can't wait.
See
You know
what
what?
happens.
I'm sucked
I think
in.
he's left there with mud in his face, egg in his face, and he's left there with nobody at the end because what you end up seeing yesterday
the
was
worst.
he leads the other 2 girls on.
So
he leads
bad.
them along.
So bad.
And then he realizes that the girl he wanted to be with, after all, was the one that walked away. So that's where we are. But can you be in love with 3 women? I think the answer is no. I actually do agree. Again, I keep looking over at Jordan because I don't know how to feel about this scenario. I'm so confused. Who's right? Who's wrong?
You could love multiple people, but
And I do think he's confused. Meaning not confused. It's clear that he's confused. I don't think he's in love with maybe even any of them.
I think that in real life, you're never simultaneously dating all these beautiful women. So at different parts of his life, like, all right, so he
His
has these.
explanation is like, you don't understand how weird this is to be in this
Of
scenario.
course. All right,
I open myself up
Yeah.
to it.
But imagine 3 girls in your life that you've had really big feelings for that you loved.
Yeah.
Date them at different parts of your life.
If they were all there
If
at
they
the
were
same
all there at the
time.
same time, and you were on a fucking show where you were having romantic getaways.
Okay.
If you put me in a scenario where I was with like my ex Kristen, my ex Jen, and Sarah, but when we all first started dating, clearly in your life you've connected with different people, but you're able to compartmentalize it because it's different parts of your life. If I told you Layla, Jordan, Christine, and all the girls you've loved in your life, You met them all at the same time, and they were in a competition for Covino's heart. You don't think that would have been a little trickier?
Before.
You don't think it would be a little trickier if you're looking out ahead of you, and there's Jordan, Layla, and your ex-girlfriend Christine all in dresses, and you got roses in your hand?
They used to love my pompadour.
You're trying to tell me now you're trying to tell me that maybe doesn't change the mind a little bit? Like,
changes things around a little bit.
Right, Spot?
Right.
And that's what makes it unique.
Here's where the guy made a mistake, though, Spot. Not only did he say, I love all these girls. So the one girl leaves.
I love all of you.
And again, this is a really, trust me, I didn't watch all season. I watched last night because Covino texted me, yo, the good part's about to happen. So I said, you know what? I'm going to DVR the whole thing and watch it. And he was right. I fucking loved it. I was like, this is fucking
way
nuts.
interesting. Guys, he crushed these women yesterday. Crushed them. That one girl, she was devastated, dude. I don't care what you think about it being scripted or you don't care.
It's not scripted as far as
This one
feelings.
girl was they were both crushed. They're like, how could you love me and say this and have sex and be with her? And he's like, sorry, I love you all.
Here's the
I'm
worst
being
part,
truthful.
Spot. Here's the worst part. Here's the worst part about it. Here's where the guy was a bozo.
Yeah.
The guy was a bozo because he had the strongest feelings for the girl that left. So then the two girls that are left there, where he's like, yeah, she left because I slept with both of you. They're like, wait a minute, she left and you told her you loved her? Wait, and you slept with both of us? Everyone starts crying and he's like, oh, I'm a dummy. Oh.
And they have to be thinking, how do we know that you wouldn't have chose her if she didn't leave?
Yeah, she left.
So we're like
yeah.
second best?
So now the brunette goes, the brunette says,
This
well,
is TV gold.
Drama filled. It was.
Spot, the
You
brunette,
can tell that this guy is just as dumb in like real life.
the brunette then says, I can't accept Rose. I'm leaving. So it leaves the blonde now saying, well, hold on. There were 3 girls left. I'm the only one left standing, but am I the only one left standing because I'm the one? Or am I the only one left standing because I'm the pushover that's accepting this?
Exactly.
So she's like, well, wait, do I want to be here? Because if I'm willing to move past this, for all I know, I'm the 3rd, but the other 2 girls walked away. And then, hold on. Then he goes, girls, please just see this process through. I'm in love with everyone. Meet my families. So then the 2 girls both agree. Let me meet your family. So they both go to his hometown. They go through the motions, but they open themselves up again. Like,
you feel so bad for them.
and the girls are like,
Because they love this guy so much.
the one girl keeps saying, like, if you love all of us, what's gonna happen? And he says yet another dumb thing Sarah pointed out. He goes, I guess whoever I love the most.
And then it becomes
And then it becomes like, what? Is this now a competition? How do you
I
measure?
mean, it
How
is
do
a
you
competition.
measure love? It's like, can you measure love?
I mean, it is a competition.
I know. That's why you're so confused, Spot. You're like, yeah, he's on a show.
They're on a show. Do they know that they're on
And
a
she
show?
even says at one point, love's not a competition. It's like,
well, that's the name of the show.
Well, it kind of is.
Part of the
Do you know? Do they know that they're on a show or
That's why I'm so torn, Spot. I'm like, you ladies put yourself in this scenario too. And then Jordan's like, yeah, but he didn't need to lead them on and sleep with the
Yeah,
other girls and lie to them.
But Spot,
until
here's the
all
worst
this-
part.
Hold on.
Does
Does Jordan not think that happens in real life?
No, because she's saying on this show specifically.
How often is a
But on this
dude-
show specifically, she's saying,
Yeah. Or a girl.
guy doesn't tell a girl that he's in love with her and sleeps with her on the show because that lets her think that she's the one.
How often does
But he
a
did
girl,
that with multiple
Oh,
women.
I'm sorry. To say that this doesn't happen in real life, to say that I haven't witnessed this over
But we're
several
confusing
years,
real life in a show.
but I'm
you know?
but it's higher drama because there's cameras there. But to say that this doesn't happen in real life,
It does.
where guys are saying I care about you just to get inside vaginas, and girls are sleeping with multiple dudes before they decide which one they want.
Get it.
Is ridiculous. Why is everybody so all of a sudden so high and mighty when they're on a fucking reality show?
It's like Love Is Blind when that douchebag Shake was like,
Shake?
I mean, like,
Did you say Shake?
Shake is the
yeah.
Indian guy.
The Indian guy, Shake. Shake is
I thought you were saying Shane.
Shane is
Shake.
the doofus.
Shane's the doofus. Shake was like, yeah, like, I mean, let's be honest, like, it matters what people look like. And Nick Lachey's like, the point of the show, dummy, is Love Is Blind. So, yeah, they're reality shows, but there's still feelings. Here's the worst part, though, Spot.
Please tell me.
And I appreciate you.
There's something worse? I can't
honestly,
wait.
Covino, I appreciate you giving me the heads up to watch because I was going to probably just watch some dumb Netflix show or something.
Sounds like you watched
So,
the dumb ABC show.
I watched a dumb ABC show instead. So the 2 girls remain. They both go to his family's place.
Well, he begs them to
He begs
stay.
them, like, please stay. I love you. And I love you. And they're like, wait, do you love us all?
Let's just
oh,
not-
yeah.
let's
And by
just-
the way, I love the girl that also left. I love 3 women. And the girl
Sounds like
still.
he's grasping at straws,
the girl still.
and it sounds like he's just doing it because he thinks that's
No.
what they want to hear.
No.
I don't think he loves anybody.
Both girls meet his family. Both girls meet his family. They meet his dad, the mom. They put themselves out there, and you can tell they're there like all nervous because he's telling them, "I love you," but hey, there's 2 other women. So
And
how are
they're
these
both
girls
so sweet?
How are these
They
girls
both
supposed
love the
to
shit out of this
like
guy.
real life or not? How are you supposed to open yourself up more to someone knowing that they're telling you they love you? That would be like Spot, you telling your wife you love her and telling other women you love them at the same time and expecting everyone to feel confident. And
My wife has more self-respect than if I were to tell her I love someone else than to try and compete for my love.
Exactly.
Well,
Spot.
here's the deal.
That's what's like confusing about
It's-
it. Like,
it's
they
a
put
weird thing.
themselves in this
But
scenario.
here's the thing. After these 2 lovely young women open themselves up, meet his family, say things to his parents like, I can see myself hanging with this family, and they're all sweet and open up. His family's like, well, you got a tough decision, doofus. You let the one girl go, and now you got these 2 great women. He's like, well, I think I have clarity now. And they're like, oh, you have clarity now? It's like, yeah, I love them all. But the one that left, I think I love her the most. And everyone's like, what? So now Jesse Palmer ends the episode. So tonight,
News
they're like,
they could have had, wish they had yesterday. Like, he's dragging them along. So
and Jesse Palmer's like, well,
she's still
interesting. She's still here. And where are they? Iceland?
Iceland.
She's still here in Iceland. So tonight we get to see if this girl takes him back, forgives him.
So in other words, he's going to go and throw his heart on the line for the girl that walked away and end up losing the 2 that really want to be with him. But I don't care. I don't expect you to care for the show. I don't. But you have to
Look past the
look
fact that it's
past
The
it
Bachelor.
and realize,
Well, ask yourself 2 questions. Can you love multiple women at once? And the other question
can you
is,
love multiple women at once?
can you accept, this is more important, I think, even than that.
No.
Are you able to accept perhaps not being your spouse's first choice?
She got a fat ass?
It's interesting because I recently had lunch with someone. Oh, the old acquaintance that
Oh, the one that
the fucking crazy lunch I had.
did you feel like you weren't his first
No,
choice?
no.
for
I
lunch
was
because he
I was asking him
talking
about his dating scene.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, man, I'm like, I'm at the age now where, I'm open to dating a divorcee or someone with kids. He goes, there's only one type of person I won't date. I'm like, oh, what's that? He goes, I don't think I could handle dating a widow because her ex is not something that went wrong. The guy died. So I don't know if I could ever live up to essentially the ghost of someone.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's an interesting point.
It is an interesting point.
So what Justin Bieber singing about?
That's not what he's singing about. He's singing about Bieber Ghost is a great song. Very
But a
emotional.
lot of
by the way.
times in life, you are the second
can't have
choice.
you, I'll settle
and
for
we
the ghost.
see
Your ghost
that.
of you.
We've been talking about it a lot with the underlying sort of scenario in sports. That's why teams haven't acted or reacted yet until they figured out where Aaron Rodgers was going. He was the one they loved the most. So everyone else was second best. Everyone else jumped for their second best
Now,
choice.
Russell Wilson is a great second choice for Denver, but
great second
other
choice.
teams like think about the NFL draft.
Only you two could tie The Bachelor into fucking sports.
Think of the NFL
It's the
draft.
same thing, Spot. He was the prize, and no one's making a move till they figure out, well, what's he doing? Because we're waiting for this
The
guy.
draft is the biggest dating analogy of all. The NFL draft. All right, well, we all want, think of last year's quarterback draft. Well, we all want Trevor Lawrence, but the Jags are going to take him. We'll take you, Zach Wilson, or you, Trey Lance.
So they were
But you know
second
what?
best.
But deep down inside, the 49ers, Jets, any of those teams last year, if they could have, they would have taken Trevor Lawrence over their guy. So in life, who told me this recently? I watch an interview with someone where they're like, well, I got the job because the other person dropped out last minute. It's like, so you weren't the first choice, but you still took the job. What would you do if you were up for a job? Let's say it's like Covino. They need a new host for DAZN, some boxing coverage. And they're like, we went with this other guy. And then last minute, they're like, yeah, there was a conflict. He had to drop out. We want you now. Would you be like, oh, you want me now? Or would you be gladly take the job?
Taking the job and love is different, though. Your second choice, but I can see the difference now that you break it down that way.
There's a difference
when
when
it's
it's
someone's second choice when it comes to how you feel about them in your heart, in your loving way. So it's tough.
What about again, another dumb reality
I'm
show.
standing my ground.
Another
I don't
dumb
think
reality
you could
show.
Be in love with 3 people. Rich gives a great hypothetical though. Imagine 3 people you actually loved, all there at the same time. That does change it a little bit.
It's easier to say.
And again, we've never been in that scenario, so how the fuck do you know? And that's his sort of claim. Like this
That's
is
why-
unconventional.
that's why I
know
have,
it sounds weird, but I
That's why I have an
open
ounce
myself
of
up to it.
That's why I have an ounce of empathy for this idiot, because he's in a scenario that none of us have ever been in. Because if I told you, who do you choose? You'd be like, my wife, my husband.
Yeah, but guess what? You opened yourself up to your wife. Imagine if you opened yourself up to everybody.
No, but
That's kind of the other thing you need to keep in mind.
But
like maybe he was too honest,
it's almost
and too
like
vulnerable,
it's almost like asking yourself,
or just too stupid.
It's almost like asking yourself, telling yourself, open up to the top 3 people you've loved in your life. And no one has an advantage. Like right now, yeah, your wife has an advantage, or the girl you're with, or the guy you're with has the advantage because that's who your heart is with now. But if I told you, equal setting, everything's fresh. You've known Layla for a month. You've known Jordan for a month. You've known your girlfriend Christine, your Erica, your college girlfriend from the New Jersey Nets dancer. If you met all those girls, Christina, Erica was the other blonde chick from Del Frisco's.
Yeah.
If I told you those 5 girls I just named that I know in the extent of our friendship, those 5 women you loved.
Yeah, because a lot of times we say timing is everything, right?
Yeah.
So in this experiment, which is The Bachelor,
timing's not a factor.
Timing's not a factor because they're all fucking there at the same time.
So if I told you take Jordan, Erica, Christine, Layla, every girl that I've known you to have feelings for.
I hope I would make the right choice.
And they were all in front of you at the same time on a dating show. You know none of them for years. You've known them all for 3 months. Good luck.
Can you be in love with 3 women at once?
I think you can.
If you open yourself up to it.
In this scenario, in a scenario like where outside sources aren't a thing. Like, here's the thing with these dating shows. There's no social media. There's no friends or family interference. Like, think of all the things that might make you more compatible with someone. You might think they're dumb, but like, let's say someone you date is annoyingly on their phone all the time, or someone you're with is like girls' night again, or someone has an annoying mother-in-law or father-in-law or something. These are factors that you don't discover on this show. So imagine just the best versions.
The more I'm thinking about it,
the best versions.
The reason he's going after this 3rd girl who is the one that walked away, and he says it but doesn't really say, he's like, she's got all the qualities that I want. You know what? She's also like the prettiest one.
Doesn't hurt.
And that's why he loves her the most. So if you're going to measure love, he's factoring in all the good vibes that he has with the other girls, but he's like, she's the prettiest. And that does fuck with you. You know, you think you're above that, but when you got a beautiful girl looking back at you, it messes with your head.
Yeah.
Both of them.
I mean, that's really it. And tonight's the finale. Believe it or not, I'm now hooked to watch. So thank you, Steve Covino, because I used to watch the show a lot. I haven't watched in a while, but it's a great social experiment, man. It really is.
Why don't you just consider it like the NBA playoffs?
I did a great job. I caught it at the right time.
I just
turned on the game. I turned on the Lakers.
The Final Four.
I turned on the March Madness. I turned on the Suns Warriors game. 4th quarter, it's tied.
Look at that. That's the best way.
I lucked out.
You know what? We just figured it out. Sorry it took us this long to get here, guys. It took us 40 minutes. Jeez. We owe you a few minutes. Sorry.
Look at it's like
watching March Madness or watching the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, you watch the first round and then the Final Four.
Who cares about the whole season was kind of boring.
You watch the first round, you watch the opening round and then the Final Four.
March Madness.
That's really the truth. It's March Madness. It's NBA Finals.
So thank you guys. Thank you. Hey, I got some other fun conversations though. Let me mix it up.
Hold on, time out. One last element. I have to bring this up. Okay. This is the truth. I hate this. I hate to sound like a pervert, but it's going to come out. If you told me Rich, you're a single guy. You're the Bachelor. And
Are you going to give the test drive example?
I whittled down 25 well-rounded, beautiful young women that are 25 to 30 years old, and I'm a 30-year-old guy again, and I'm the Bachelor.
You didn't use the term test drive to Sarah, did you, last night?
I did, and then she's like, I get it, but reword that. I was like, all right, you're right. Fair enough.
You didn't say you wanted to see what's doing
underneath the hood. No,
Okay.
but I did say the reality is, all right, 25 women. Immediately, I can promise you, if you gave me, if I'm a single 30-year-old guy, because I was, if you said, and Spot was there when you and I were single guys, 25 women ahead of us, immediately you could be like, all right, 15 of you, you might be beautiful, but not my type. Later, then you got 10 girls, and you're like, within probably a night of conversations and drinks, you'd be like, nah, no, we just don't click. We don't click. We don't click.
No.
You could probably narrow it down to 5 girls.
Nope.
Pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep.
you go on these romantic dates. Oh, you're going to the vineyard. You're going to an island. You're going scuba diving.
Game of Guess Who?
You're going bungee jumping. You're having these romantic nights. Oh, look, Dirks Bentley is going to perform for you, just you two. Hey, look, you're going mountain climbing and helicopter rides. Everything's going to be perfect. And you're like, yo, she's gorgeous. We have great kissing chemistry. Same with her. Wow, they all have nice families. Now we have the first time ever where there's not a camera up our butt. You're going to want to see if there's sexual chemistry. And if you don't think this guy should have tried to sleep with all 3 of these women, you're crazy. Because if his goal of this stupid show at the end of it is to be like, will you marry me? Imagine like the one girl he thought he liked was like, ew, I don't like doing that in bed. Ew. And she's like lame. Or some girl had like a fucking dank vagina.
It was the worst thing you could possibly hear in those scenarios.
No, imagine like the one girl. Imagine there were 2 girls and he's like, I have these like great feelings for both of you. But one of them's like fucking superstar in the bedroom. And the other girl's like, ew, no. And she's like sort of weak. How can you tell me that sexual chemistry isn't a factor? It's not everything.
Take that in college?
Oh, yeah. No, I did.
Sexual chemistry.
Sexual chemistry 101. I wore my goggles,
the top
my
student.
lab coat.
Eddie, your DJ, to wrap it up, says, what's up, Eddie? Fight from Arkansas.
Yeah, I was going to read his take, but it's bunk.
It's a nice way to wrap it up, though. Think what you want. I'm very confused because it's a show. And it's unconventional.
Yeah, but Eddie...
Yeah, what are the real life possibilities? I don't know.
When Eddie was born, the life expectancy of a man was 33.
People wore those funny white wigs when he was born. He says, I don't think that you can fall in love with 2 people at the same time. When you say I love you to a woman for the first time, you're telling them, him or her, that you love them and want to spend the rest of your life with them as husband or wife.
Well, no.
Well, that's what these women are sort of under the impression of, because that's sort of how the show works. You're on camera. So for a guy to say, I love you and we're sleeping together, it's sort of implying that she's his choice. So it's confusing.
I always assumed...
it's drama show. Drama show.
Oh, it's so good. I'll be honest. It was very entertaining. I think
But you know what I watched?
Love's just a very special feeling. You can.
Yeah.
I'm saying you can lust, you can infatuate, but love, I think, requires
Continue.
a lot of
You've done to me.
singular focus. So you're never just like the whole thing with like as a parent.
God lifts us up.
You're never gonna love your kids equally. I know you say you do, but you're never gonna love your kids equally. You're always gonna shift towards one or the other. So I think when it comes to your life mate, you give your love to a person, and the other person, someone's always gonna suffer. Someone's always gonna be less.
You said it, Spotty.
Just saying.
That's the update there, and I want you to take yourself out of the show and just think about it, because when you see it played out, it's like heart-wrenching. It really is heart-wrenching, and I'm a cold-hearted douche. Like, I'm sort of numb. I don't know how I feel about anything anymore, and I'm like, oh man, I feel so bad.
I'll be honest, Andrew Hart, he might be facetious or not, but I agree. You could sleep with all of them, but you got to reserve the "I'm in love with you" for one of them. You can't like.
You said that, and you were like, I don't know.
No. I said early on. I said this guy was the bozo mistake because you could very easily tell a woman or ladies, you could tell a guy, "I'm falling for you." I'm falling for you is the nicest, kindest way of saying. I don't want to say I love you yet, but I want you to know my feelings are strong. How many times has someone said that out of like a safety?
No,
Said
it's true.
that? Yeah, I'm falling. You know what I'm falling for you is
a lot.
You know what I'm falling for you is? I'm falling for you is the you're wearing your safety goggles, you have your harness, you have the net underneath you. It's the safe, you're not going to die way of saying I love you. Because I'm sure I told Sarah very early on, like, yeah, I'm falling for you. Because if I told her early on, like, I love you, like, that could scare people away. So this bozo was too in touch with his emotions where he's telling everyone he fucking loves them. But you can't blame him. Put yourself in the Bachelor scenario. If you have the opportunity, if you have overnight dates with 3 girls that are 10s 3 days in a row, I mean, maybe his evil penis was doing the talking too. You're trying to tell me that if I said, hey, here's 3 good-looking women, you're going to spend the night alone with them in a hotel on back-to-back-to-back nights. You're going to be like, hey, let me be a gentleman.
That's crazy, man.
What did that meme say? Throw it again.
It's crazy.
When you're Ted Dangs, 20 years, 6 ICs, and 4 men, that's crazy. I don't know, Spot. I'm being serious. I don't know. Do you just not relate to loving more than one? See, you loved your wife when you were a teenager. Then you found her again. I don't think you ever went through the debacles of love. I really don't. I think you sort of lucked out. No, I really do. I think you lucked out more than you'll ever imagine.
How do you know anything about me?
How do I know anything about you? That's the dumbest question you've ever
assume my
said.
life.
How do I know anything about you? I don't know. We spent every day together for the last 20 years.
Don't assume my
How
life.
do I know everything about you? I don't know.
All right.
All right, Spot, I know nothing. Spot, Covino, the guy that we've spent every day of our fucking lives with from 2005 on.
You don't know my struggles.
Yeah, we know nothing about him. Spot, you were in love with your wife as a teenager. Things didn't work out. You reunited with her later in life, and you're like,
we were never like at that level. I was infatuated with her, but we never like
dude,
progressed.
you had a crush
I had a
on
crush,
your
that's
wife
it.
when you were teenagers,
Yeah, but
and
we
you
never,
found
like-
her again, and it was a love story, Taylor Swift style. Marry
Yeah, but we
me,
never-
Spotty
you make
boy,
it
you're
s-
never gonna be alone.
But you-
Boom, down, down.
But you made it sound like we dated in high school and then rekindled
No,
the
but
relationship.
what I'm saying
we
is-
never dated until first started dating into marriage.
No, I'll give you an example that he'll hate. But when he first met his ex-wife, and that was all starting. Remember, like other good-looking girls that were lingering, that he had to be like, "Yo, you got to beat it now." You've never been in that scenario where you were managing those scenarios. It's tricky, dude. When I met my wife, I had a lingering ex. She had a lingering boyfriend. There's people that there's drama in a lot of people's lives. I am crediting you with. I think that you had a very clear "I love you" path in front of you. You reunited with your high school crush.
You don't know his life.
I don't know. I don't know. You don't know my life.
You don't know my life.
What do I not know?
I work in a very singularly focused way.
You don't know his singularly focused ways.
People say they know more about you than their family.
You know what? I have a theory. I may have liked The Bachelor all along, and I just didn't like how Rich couldn't ever stop talking about it. I think that's what it was. All those years, I could have been watching and enjoying the show. But much like tease bets and like football, Rich, like once he gets rolling, like he gets crazy about it.
All right.
It's a good sociological experiment to observe.
That was always my point. Covino didn't like it until he decided he liked it. It's just Covinoisms. It's Covino doesn't like something and he'll decide.
I mean, it's just like this conversation, although it's been fun, like there's no stopping you. And that's how it would always be. It's like,
All right, then move on. What do you want to talk? Let's talk about
titties.
Let's talk about.
I have to now.
Let's talk about Ukraine.
I have to bring what the people came here for. Titties. So let's fast forward. Titties.
Can't talk about titties.
I was going to talk about this on our Rando news segment of the
Hey,
day.
what are you being vulgar for?
So because that's exactly what I'm talking about.
We're very astute here.
Breastists.
We don't talk about the female anatomy anymore.
No.
Talk about
for real.
Tom Brady.
I'm really
The
talking
Bachelor.
about
It's the future. Spot.
boobies. I don't. What do you want me to say? So I was like sort of dumbfounded watching The Bachelor. I'm like, I need more TV. I need something else to stimulate me.
Jerry Buss.
I already watched that.
Oh.
I missed Shark Tank. I put on Shark Tank. I missed it last week. Still the best show on TV. And first of all, before I get into the Tatty conversation, there's a new company called Noggin Boss. I feel like Rich should be the spokesman for Noggin Boss. Look it up, please, Spot. Noggin Boss.
I thought Rich was like when you fight all the other noggins, Rich is the noggin boss that you have to fight to win the game.
Dude, there's a company and they make oversized hats, but like giant hats so that you're standing out in the crowd. And they actually bought into this. It got bought on Shark Tank. Noggin. Hey, we're the inventors of Noggin Boss. Don't just be like a regular guy wearing a hat. Wear these oversized hats. Rich, you need one of these.
Choose your noggin.
Look at these. They're oversized, giant, dark helmets.
I love dark helmet.
Why would someone wear that?
Look at her. She's cute.
Yo,
I mean, she's hot.
they bought into it. I think Mark Cuban even got involved in it.
Don't jump. You know what? Sarah always
thought
yells.
you, Rich.
Sarah always yells at me for this. I don't
let's-
judge the product.
let's make
I
a
judge the
noggin for
model
you.
it's on. Like Sarah's like, "What do you think of this dress?" I'm like, "It's hot." Like, is it hot or is the girl wearing? I'm like, "Oh, you're right. It's the girl." Like Spot just showed me that hot girl and the hat. I'm like, "Hey, maybe the hat's not bad." I'm like, "No, I'm looking at the hot girl wearing the hat." Show
What's
me.
your, let's see. We can make it a little baseball.
The Noggin Boss.
The Noggin
It's an
Boss.
oversized giant hat.
Yeah, it is like the Turk
And-
Ferguson hat from.
Mark Cuban said
That's
the
a funny
only
hat.
problem is
Funny
for the
hat.
people in the front rows wearing these, pissing off the people behind them, like that Woody Woodpecker cartoon. Remember when Woody Woodpecker's trying to watch the baseball game, the dude with a big giant cowboy hat in front of him, so he shoots a hole in it.
Man, I wish I had.
Then
I
the
wish
guy
I had
takes his
ideas.
hat off and his hair shaped the same way.
Any hat I wear is a Noggin Boss.
Noggin Bosses. Look at those are the guys. An oversized. That's the next trend. They are selling thousands of these things, so you might see it at a ball game near you.
You know
The
how I
Noggin
know.
Boss.
You know how I know. I have a,
Can you get like team logos on them?
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
shit
sure.
made me laugh though, and that's why they needed the help from the Sharks. Like
Mark
to trademark
Cuban
things
probably.
like
Yeah,
that.
Mark Cuban probably could have got these noggin hats into the NBA.
Well,
and-
he's saying let's see how they sell at the Mavericks games, and he definitely got involved. I think Damon John got the deal, but Noggin Boss like made me laugh. I'm like, really? Okay, I get it. It's novelty. It's fun, and they're $60 a hat. But anyway,
people
this
buy,
other
people
woman,
buy foam fingers. So yeah,
well, these
when
are
you
like
think about it that way.
gigantic fitted caps. So
You know
Noggin Boss.
how you know how I know I have a big head? SiriusXM provided us with a little gift bag Spot of COVID safety supplies for our Vegas trip. Like, hey, just set a protocol. Here's a little shipment of sanitizer, wipes, masks, COVID tests. Like, just here's a little care package. So in case you want to play it extra safe for your travels. The black N95 masks they gave us make my ears stick out like this because I can't fit it around my head. Like,
Yeah,
I was like, yo,
misplaced ears.
You need a noggin mask.
I was like, did they give me kid sizes, Covino?
Noggin mask.
I was like,
coming soon.
so start your new business. Noggin
they were
mask.
pulling my ears. I looked like Neil Patrick Harris in the 80s. I was like, oh.
Anyway, Rich needs the Noggin Boss hat. He needs one. We need a CNR Noggin
Yeah,
Boss
but he
hat
needs
for
the
Rich.
noggin boss hat, but like without the filling to make it a normal size hat.
Do you agree with Kevin, though, that Noggin Boss is just more proof that the whole human thing has run its course on Earth?
What does that mean? I don't get it.
Like humans, we've done enough. It's time for like we've
Running out of ideas?
We've overstayed our welcome on this
Shit
planet.
was- I honestly thought this is ridiculous. And then I saw the fun novelty in it, and they were sort of having fun with it. And like Damon John was wearing it sideways, and they were all getting a good laugh out of it because they were quality hats, according to what they said. But they bought into it. Noggin Boss. The shit made me laugh. So,
Things you watch.
well, I love Shark Tank, man. I'm a huge Mr. Wonderful fan.
I know you are.
I have a
The
question.
wrestler and the businessman. Now, hold on. I'm bringing it back to the tatties. It's the titties.
I
Fast forward.
want to talk about The Bachelor.
I know you, dude. It's like
I was
I
gonna-
love your passion because then it's like us on Fox Sports Radio. When things are in Rich's wheelhouse, he gets next level amped.
I was just going to ask you one last thing that you never answered, though, about like when you finally do sleep with someone and you're intimate with them, doesn't that sway you one way or the other sometimes on your feelings? Like, hey, I have all these feelings and thoughts about this person. Then when you finally are intimate, isn't there a lot of times where you're like, oh
There's
wow,
a
we
lot of
have
things,
magical
though.
chemistry, or like, oh wow, that was sort of like we weren't really vibing, so maybe we're more friends that the chemistry's not there. So I don't know.
It's
I'm still
definitely
thinking.
a
I'm still
factor.
thinking about that. Like I don't
That's
think
a factor. Like seeing them interact with kids is a factor, right?
Yeah.
For some people. You know, my dad always says, yeah, I saw your mother and how she was raising her brother and sister. I knew she'd be a good mother. Ooh, right? She was a good woman. How they interact with your family, how they interact in the bedroom. Like, all these are major factors. So can't blame the guy for being interested. And again, he's like, aren't we here on the show to explore these feelings? It's a blurred line. I don't know what's right or wrong.
Dude, Clayton should have bought one of those noggin hats and hit under it. Like
Noggin hat is the rage. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, I'm confused about The Bachelor. That was too much. Too many tears were shed. I need some fun TV.
noggin rage.
So Noggin Boss made me laugh. And then this other woman comes on. She's kind of like a voluptuous, like pretty older woman.
Yeah.
I don't mean older woman. She's probably my age. So relax. Because I could just hear the eye rolls like, that's an older woman. Like, yeah, she's an older woman. She's like, hi, I'm Rebecca Dimitriosos. I don't know. She was some Greek woman.
Oh, Rebecca Dimitriosos.
And I'm the creator and founder of Behave. And she's like, growing up, I had a big problem. 2 big problems. And she's like, right? So and you're like, I got 2 big problems. Right. She's got 2 massive jugs. Mama. Right? One time they panned over to Mr. Wonderful, who was like this.
Oh, it's because she got big jugs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Robert Herjavec wasn't even on the show that day, and he just popped out of nowhere to see what's up.
You're off today. What's up?
Hey, so she has this bra called Behave, and the premise is there's like a piece that she calls the stay that's inside the sports bra that cups. It's almost like sack underwear, how it cups your nuts and cradles them. But it cradles your tatty, so no matter if you're leaning over, no matter what you do, they're always
it's
cradled.
Good booby gripping action, essentially.
Yeah. So she created this bra for big breast-assist women. And she was talking, Mr. Wonderful was real interested off the get-go. And he's like, what sizes do they come in? She goes, they come in from letters D to I or something like that. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, so now you're limiting the market to only big-breasted women. I think that's what they're thinking.
Can't do that, yeah.
And then know what she says? And I'm like, hold on. It's funny you guys say that because the average breast size in America is double D now.
Double DS?
I was like, excuse me?
Well, overweight people.
And that's what I was getting at.
Overweight people.
That just shows you how overweight America is. The average size, what used to be, think about it, what used to be a large when we were kids,
the average
compared to what a large is now, like I'm talking drink size, anything, right? Sizes have changed because we're like, yeah, that's not a large anymore. It is a large. A large T-shirt has also changed.
Yeah.
She's saying, well, when we were kids, a double D, you're thinking as a kid, like,
misconception.
Double D now, apparently, according to her and Shark Tank, is the average breast size in America.
Sophia Beverdees.
It's a
showing
misconception.
You how overweight and how everything has changed.
Yeah, it's a misconception, Cove, because it's when we're thinking double Ds, you know what you're thinking? You're thinking some in shape petite woman with double Ds. Double Ds also are attached to people that are not in shape.
Would you
the
have
average
ever
that's the thing.
You would
the
have
average bra size from 1992 to 20 whatever has increased from a 34B to a 34 double D.
That's
and now
berserk.
This is in 2019. Now it's shot up to a triple D. Diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Bro.
Bam. Flavortown.
So hold on. Like there was so much going on here because I'm like, the average, hold on. Like my mind was like, the average breast size is a triple D? What the hell? That doesn't even like make sense to me. Because when you go back into now go rewind. You're like a freaking flam. Yeah, you're in junior high.
Why are the average bra sizes different?
If a girl was rocking a C cup back then, you're like, yeah. Because that was like
C's
above average.
Big.
Kind of. It was big.
Here are some factors that
That's
contribute
tiny
to bra size.
in today's standards.
Genetics, weight being heavier makes the likelihood of having larger breasts greater because our weight plays a huge role in development of breast tissue. Climate, that has to say why there's different breast sizes around the world. Hot areas, the body consumes more energy to cool itself down. Therefore, more energy stored in the body. So in hot climates, you got big gazooms.
So what I got out of last night's Shark Tank
Oh no, wait.
on
Small
Hulu,
gazooms. In cold climates, they got big gazooms.
because that was the name of her bra line, Gazooms. No, it's actually called Behave.
You mean to tell me?
You mean to tell me? What I got out of it is Americans have big heads, Noggin Boss, and giant breasts because everybody's a fatty or has a fat head.
That's a look into the future. In the future, everyone wears a big hat and everyone's got big titties.
I got to look into the future last night. You mean to tell me? On Shark Tank and I
Marty,
couldn't believe it.
it's not you. It's your kids.
It's like it's
What's the
almost
matter,
like
Doc?
if someone from
I got
1985
big heads and big titties.
If someone in 1985 came here and ordered a large,
I need to
they're like,
know
that's a
what-
large? That's gigantic. It's like everything is so different.
Rich, you're the breast expert. You're
Yeah.
the breast.
I am.
expert.
I'm an expert on all.
No, it's
but yes.
fat America, man. It's not a good thing. It's like that's how fat we've become.
I really, off the top of my head, I appreciate the look of breasts, but I couldn't tell you the size if my life depended on it.
Well,
I mean, I know obviously an A cup is very small,
yeah, but
tiny.
you probably do better than
if
you think.
triple
if you played,
D
if
is
you played
the
guessing
average.
games.
You're saying
No, I
triple D
don't-
is the average.
I don't think I'd know,
I mean,
I don't know either, to be honest.
right?
I just assume. I don't know.
it's
But it was few and far between growing up where, like, if someone's rocking a double D, and as far as you're concerned, you're like, they might as well be like a movie star. Because those are rarities.
The reality is, think of the people you know, and this stat makes sense the more I think about it. Because friends you have or people you know, any woman as she gets older, who gets bigger.
Can I just say what's your bra size so I can kind of have a reference?
Yeah, but I mean,
What's my wife? I don't even know my wife's bra
how do you
size.
not know these things?
Do you know your wife's bra size?
I know everything.
What is it?
My wife's.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
It's very. It seems very personal to me.
Is it? I don't know.
Do you
Is
know
that like-
Jordan's bra size?
like that.
Like, do you know the size?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, do you remember that one time you went to buy her lingerie and the woman's like, "What size?" You're like,
Hold on.
You're
So
like,
Not-
wait.
but not like 100% spot.
No,
I think I'm 90% sure.
Remember
Yeah, do you know the number and letter?
No.
Yeah, do you remember the sales rep?
There's
and
no
you were
way.
and you were like, "Hold on one second. And you grab and you're like, "Yeah, she's sort of like you."
Yeah.
Remember that? And then she's
Once.
yeah.
Once.
Wasn't it from Enemy of the State?
I have a question.
This
Do
is
you
like
know?
in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Do you know your wife's shoe size?
Yeah.
Do you know her? So do you know her clothing size?
Yeah.
You don't know her bra size.
No.
If you were to buy her lingerie, would you know what to get?
I would know bottoms. Or lingerie, I assume, comes in sizes.
I feel like I bet you I could guess your wife. I'm not going to say it, but I bet you I could guess it. And then if you, I'll tell you off there and ask her, and I bet you I'm right.
Okay.
I bet, yeah.
She has very
expert.
She has very modest breasts. She has a large ass. She's all butt.
Yeah, no,
And very, like,
I would bet
perky,
you.
petite.
I would bet you.
She got a nice little handful. That's all I need.
I bet you it's more
It's
obvious
like
than
this.
you think.
It's like this. What is this?
That's $1 billion business. Everyone, you know what? You got to think what everyone needs. I think about that all the time when it comes to clothing. And you see a new sock company, you see new underwear companies, and you're like, man, another one. But then again, 300 million people just in this country alone have to wear underwear every day. So,
And by the way,
you know, it's like the bra industry is probably flourishing.
Mr. Wonderful jumped at it, gave her an offer she couldn't refuse. She sort of negotiated, but he jumped at it, saw the vision, and she made a deal with Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, my hero, and you had to see this thing. It looked like a giant like apparatus. It's like, man, this is what like today's average American woman is rocking.
Well,
Like how big?
Again,
would you
it's-
say, like how big would you say like a Sophia Beverly is?
double D.
So that's a double D.
No.
E?
According to today's our judgment's off. I'm
You think
saying
I
she's
could-
like a triple D.
Hold on. I could probably Google her because she's.
No. I mean,
I'll ask Jordan.
Breast size. 40 double B. No, that's not right. Is it? According to Starsgab.com.
That's not right because 40 is the.
Oh, no, wait.
40's the
back. Like the.
Measurement,
She's small.
bra
She's a
size
small
double
girl.
D. Yeah, bra size double
double
D.
D. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So that's the average size. It goes back to what we were saying about Pam and Tommy, about Pam Anderson. What we thought was giant back then
You know what?
is
It makes-
sort of moderate today.
Did you hear that?
Say it again.
Covino just dropped a 2-week time bomb that just came to fruition. A couple weeks ago, he said,
So you mean to tell me?
"Isn't it funny how we used to think Pam Anderson had the biggest titties back then, and now they're pretty standard compared to the rest of women."
The early 90s.
And it's much like athlete spot. I'll give you the dumb analogy.
By the way.
back then,
Double D's.
yeah, back then a girl who had like D or double D stood out because a lot of women were smaller. Now and it's not just breast implants. It's it's truthfully it's health and people are just bigger, which means, oh wow, that's what we used to think was big. It's like athletes. Every team now has a 300-pound guy that's fast and quick. Back then, that's what made Lawrence Taylor one of a kind. Every team has a Lawrence Taylor now. Not of his level, but every team has a guy.
Where does it stop, though? Talking about pushing humans to the limits? Where does it end?
Well, but it's health, though, bro. It's
yeah, but where does it? If we're continuing to change and grow and evolve in this way, does it really turn into Wall-E? Wall-E, where we're just blobs sitting there, like one giant boot, one giant titty, with two eyes,
blobs.
Like, what's the future hold then? If we came to this point from the 80s to now, which is a long time, but where does it go? That's what I'm saying. How far do you push to human limits? Is it just going to stop? I don't think so. Well, if we went from Lawrence Taylor to everybody being Lawrence Taylor and bigger, and women from being, Pam Anderson titties to these, now that's average, then what's average in another 30 years, 40 years? Double D, according to Shark Tank, was average. Spot saying is triple D in America. Average breast size. Mind blown. That was my night of TV. The end.
The
Noggin Boss
end. And The Bachelor.
And The Bachelor. Covino and Noggin Boss.
I'm just gonna start asking women. What's your bra size? This way I can have
What's your name? What's your bra size?
Just this way I can know. This way I can have like a full-on reference of sizes because I'm really bad at that.
And as women get older and have kids, their boobs get bigger too. So you're talking about women who their breasts get bigger when they become mothers. So this is not a market it's not a market for the double D market or bigger is not a market for a college girl. As women get older, they get bigger.
Average women. I'm factoring everybany.
no.
I'm just surprised to hear that. That was a surprising stat, not only to me, to everyone in the tank.
What's the most you can go up in fakies?
As big as you want.
The size
As long as it's the surgeon's.
Every letter of the alphabet is covered in bra sizes.
The
Z?
Yeah.
Wow.
If the surgeon is willing to, you ever see those shows like Botched? Like the surgeon will be like, I can't believe a surgeon did this to you. Because sometimes surgeons have different ethical thresholds. Like there are surgeons and people that will discourage people. Like, don't do this. You don't need this. And then there's other surgeons that are like, yeah, I'll take your money. What do you want me to do? I'll put a dick on your head. Like
Sally Scott.
It really depends on who you like. Spot when we go to Vegas, and there'll be like the one stripper at the strip club who has like circus level boobs. Like we're talking like she has basketballs on her chest.
Didn't we get you a dance?
You got me a lap dance from a girl that had the equivalent of basketballs on her chest.
I loved it.
But you know what? 90% of surgeons, Covino, would say, I'm sorry, ma'am, we're not doing that to you. That's unethical. But there'll be that one surgeon that's like, yeah, whatever you want, give me your money. So that's who does it.
So the average breast size.
A demented doctor would do anything.
Dr. Demento.
Dr. Demento.
That's the update there. And we'll get into more Rando news later.
Let's talk about The Bachelor again.
No, actually, I have a question for you, though, real quick, right quick. Tom Brady in the news. We discussed it in depth on FoxSportsRadio.com.
You think he watched last night with Giselle? You think they watched The Bachelor?
I have a question about Giselle. FoxSportsRadio.com to hear our whole take on
He's loved two women.
How he made the decision to come back. We touched on it yesterday. It's huge news. We're waiting for him to publicly address his reasonings. Or maybe he won't ever. We don't know. Was there beef with Bruce Arians and they cleared it up? We don't know. So
will he talk about it on his show?
With Jim Gray?
maybe my brief question is simply this. Do you think before he came out of retirement, Rich, he actually had to sit down with his wife and his family and prepare them for the backlash? Like, did he foresee, look, man, I'm going to come back and everyone's going to be making these jokes about I hate my family? Because that's the biggest like underlying joke.
Yeah,
If you
because
wa- if you
after watching
take the temperature of social media.
after watching his documentary,
Yeah.
he's very aware. And for a decade plus, Tom Brady has rolled his eyes.
Everyone's
going
to think it was us that pushed you back onto football.
Yeah, but he's talked about in his documentary, The Man in the Arena, how for years the press has got him wrong or they make assumptions. And I think he is very ready for all that's thrown at him that way. I think he's probably told his family, like, listen, they're going to say this. Laugh it off. It's going to be jokes.
Yeah, you think he had the
Jokes.
foresight to prepare them for that?
I think so, only because of...
his family's getting a beating. All in good fun, but the underlying joke is he had 2 months with his kids and his family and realized, F this shit, I'm going back to work.
Kids to school. Sorry.
So, unfortunately, his family's getting the brunt and a little bit of the backlash of his decision-making here. And I was wondering if they saw that coming and he prepared them and he apologized for what's about to come.
No matter how cool you are, your kids get to a certain age where they're not going to want to be around you all the time. So Tom Brady could be like, hey, everyone, I'm home. But the reality is, I think Cowherd even said this on Fox.
I said it first.
No, he said it first when Tom was first made the announcement on his Instagram, which was, and then you said on Fox, but it was, you work out in the morning, you make your phone calls, you do it.
We're talking about different things.
Yeah, you work out in the morning, you make your phone calls, you grab a breakfast, you make your personal work stuff, you do all your stuff, and then it's like, all right, now it's lunchtime. Now what? His kids are at school. His kids have friends. His kids are a little older. Wow, what do I do with the other 9-10 hours of my waking day?
Guilty dad syndrome.
Yeah.
Drove him to want to spend more time with his family, only to realize that
they don't want to spend more time with him.
they're sort of busy.
Yeah,
But again, his wishy-washy back and forth has created a lot of backlash where there was really none before. So it did make me think. I wonder if he saw that coming and prepared them. Speaking of family, quick friend in need. Quick. Our buddy, let's call him Steve Anonymous. Want to call him Steve Anonymous?
Steve Anonymous, like one word?
Steve Anonymous.
Steve Anonymous.
Steve Anonymous.
He's a Greek guy. Stephen is Anonymous.
Anonymous.
Speaking of family, Tom Brady,
Hey, Tommy.
his kids couldn't stand them. Let's
Can't
talk about
stand
kids
you.
real quick. You know what? I'm going to have to give you the gist. Because there's really no point in bringing up every little detail. It was inspired by you, Rich.
Oh.
I was thinking about what you guys said about Rich's family being in all different states. And Steve said, it's hard. I feel like the family unit is never the same.
Oh.
And I think as Americans and as we grow and our titties get bigger, we're starting to see that the American family is not what it used to be. The relationships with kids and their grandparents is different. Grandparents are on the move. They're in different states. It's just a different world, different time. Your siblings are all over the place. I'm not the only guy. This seems to be the trend. The world's a much smaller place. So your family being all in one town, that shit is gone.
That's a fantasy that a guy like our buddy Donnie Pompidou, I only bring him up because he's the guy that's adamant that my parents are in this hometown, I'm in this hometown, and my kids will never leave here. Like, some people put that pressure on their family, like, we're all here. Other people, it's like, spread your wings, butterfly, and you never know where you're going to end up. I've talked about this with you where...
But it was a good time.
Yeah, I mean...
You know?
It's nice to have everyone together, but it's not realistic.
But it's not realistic anymore.
No, the world's a smaller place.
The world's a much smaller place. The thought of your kid traveling and moving somewhere else is such a possibility because they have friends in every state through social media. They've been there. You know, it's a different world. We were scared to travel, or I don't know, like we thought of it differently.
Well, there was a lot more involved. When you go now to, where was I? Oh, I was in the Dominican Republic
Oh, when you
for my
were,
dad's 70th, and I did our
Went there to buy a
podcast.
Hubba Bubba.
Who's Hubba Bubba?
Oh yeah.
Husi fruit.
We not free.
Oh,
That's what they-
Husi.
That's when you became the Husi fruit.
Husi fruit. When I was in the DR, I'm only bringing this up because you talk about the world being a smaller place. Years ago, you would go on vacation and you tell everyone you know, like, hey, I'll be back in a week. If you need anything, I don't know what to tell you. I'll be off the radar. Off the radar? You go in the resort and the first thing everyone does is they connect to the Wi-Fi and they're fucking checking their email and they're, they're sitting in their room, like looking at their phone or they're on the beach. Like, I did our podcast. I did this show sitting in the lounge of a resort on an island.
But
Like,
I do miss, I can't, I'd be lying if I said I don't miss the convenience and the old school feeling of, yeah, your grandma lived in town, everyone else lived in town, your aunt and uncle lived like maybe the next town over, and you went to everyone's house and everyone was sort of there. It's like, yeah, those days are gone, dude.
Let me tell
you. Unless you're like a small town dude.
Let me tell you. It was very hard for me to move away from my family because they all stayed back there and I was here, so no one ever comes to visit me. But I will say this. The only time that my family seems to get together is when I go back. My brother and sister live next door to each other, and my sister says my brother only comes over when he needs something. And my other brother lives 5 minutes up the road or within 10 minutes away.
So maybe just those times have changed.
They're like, they're the two of them. So my sister and my brother are like, oh, he never even like reaches out to us. We never see him at all. Because he's so busy with his family and his kids. He's got 2 kids.
You assume. Like,
He's got 2 kids.
Plus
He
you
has
have
odd
social
works.
media connecting people, so it might take the pressures of seeing them in person off a little bit.
And obviously, certain families are different. And I would argue that my mother was the glue that held us all together. So we were seeing more of each other when we would get together as family. But yeah, it's just because you live close to each other, you still have to make an effort because everyone has their own life.
My high school friends always love to remind me. Because I'm always like, every time I see like my old school pals, I'm like, man, it is a bummer that I'm 3,000 miles away. And I'm very quickly reminded by like my friend Christina. Yeah, I see you as much as I see our friend Bill. And Bill lives 40 minutes away in Jersey. She goes, to be honest, we get together when you come back because it's a good reason. So a lot of times, friends or family, you're assuming because they live near each other, they're all chilling without you.
Well, this is going to make our buddy Steve Anonymous feel better because he's in a dilemma of his own based on our discussions of family being all over the place and things like that. He says, so my oldest daughter is moving to Houston in 2020. So you got to write this down. Steve Anonymous
I'm
is in
making
New
a
York.
little map.
Steve Anonymous is an East Coast listener, friend of ours.
A map.
Okay, I'm going
so-
to make a map of where he's from.
Steve Anonymous is in New York.
Okay.
And he says his oldest daughter, moved to Houston in 2020, bought a house,
Probably for super cheap.
and is getting married in the fall. Now his youngest daughter is moving to Houston as well
All right.
because they feel New York is just too expensive, like you said, Spot.
that right.
And it is.
And it is.
So the younger daughter probably saw
come to
older
LA.
daughter prospering and, oh, you're going to buy this house in Houston? Like, wow, I can't afford this in New York. I might as well move to Houston too.
I moved to. Okay, there we go. So I got 2 daughters in Houston.
So think
Gotcha.
about it.
My
That's-
map is good.
Doesn't that make you want to cry a little bit?
Man, that must have
For
been
Steve?
difficult.
Ben and Amy move away.
Where's Houston? Houston's like center,
Houston's
right?
near Houston's
No,
closer to
that's
New
Dallas.
Orleans. Houston is
right.
east-
It's by the coast.
It's
Or
the
right-
coast,
Not
yeah.
the coast, but like the border.
Okay, so we're all playing along.
Coast.
Steve's from New York.
I know what you mean,
His
though.
daughter has moved to Houston.
east. It's east.
To the right.
It's east. To the right.
Steve says, I went to visit Houston in November. I truly have no interest in moving there. It was never on my radar as a possibility in my life. I don't really like it there. He goes, now my parents are elderly. They're 87 and 84. They're all I really have here in New York. He says, my brother, who he's close with, lives in Jupiter, Florida, a place I love and I've always wanted to move to. Again, that's East Coast. It's a little more familiar, right?
Jupiter, Florida probably is like an hour flight from Houston.
He says, my dilemma is,
right there.
what the F do I do? Am I obligated to eventually move to Texas because my kids are there? I'm sure I'll have grandchildren there one day. I'm definitely not ready to be a grandpa yet. Again, this is a cool dude who's not old by any means. He listens to our show, Steve Anonymous. That's a bit of a pickle because my immediate reaction
So-
to him is like, yeah, dude, if you want to be in your kid's life, your kids and
there's Houston.
their children, then you're gonna have to move to Houston.
So there's Houston. Right?
Yeah,
There's
Houston, like I said, bottom east.
Where's Jupiter, Florida?
Jupiter, Florida?
Where's Jupiter, Florida? Jupiter.
Not sure where Jupiter is. I don't think it's south though. I don't think it's down by Miami. It
Next
might be-
to like Saturn somewhere.
my
it's,
my Saturn. My Saturn.
Take a left turn at Uranus.
Oh,
next to
Jupiter near
planet Pluto.
Tallahassee.
It's right next to
I don't know.
planet
Where's
Pluto.
Jupiter? Hold on.
Look up. Google Jupiter, Florida.
Florida. Jupiter,
Oh,
Florida.
Jupiter. Jupiter. Oh, it is south. Where is it?
Oh,
near?
it's near.
It's
it's in West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach. All right.
Jupiter.
Irrelevant. Because Florida's Florida. You're gonna get a flight from. He's not gonna drive.
Yeah, but it's okay. So
Now,
there's,
Steve,
there's
hold on.
Jupiter.
Here's another key, though.
There's
Steve,
Houston, so that's a quick flight. His family, New York City, New York proper, where? Upstate New York.
here's what you need to keep in mind. No, they're from, I think, like the Long Island area.
Okay, so
But listen, he said his parents are still alive. He said his brother lives in Florida. He didn't mention any other siblings. So again, I'm just assuming.
I would
I don't
stay
know.
by the parents.
Like, dude, so this guy's gonna leave his 80-something-year-old parents?
I mean, the truth is, I don't know. Maybe.
or move the parents to Florida.
I mean, maybe
It's
every.
not
Snowbird.
that easy.
Maybe
dude.
everyone
you
move-
act like you could just make decisions for your old ass parents.
Well,
Good
if they
luck.
need if they need care, then they're not the ones making decisions.
I've seen pictures of them. Doesn't look like
All right, are they capable?
yes.
Then if they're capable at 87, 84, that could end quickly, or they could be healthy for another 10 years. I mean, I saw my grandmother, before she passed away, my grandmother was like almost like perfect until 92. And then all of a sudden, like early 90s, it's like fucking boom. Something happens to people in their early 90s, if they live that long, where you'll start losing it. And Steven probably doesn't want to leave his parents.
But is the answer as automatic as the Pointer Sisters saying?
Sarah and I have a plan already. We don't,
Wherever the kids are?
wherever the kids are. We have
That's what I'm saying.
our plan already. We don't know if we have Emmy and Ben.
But it's not even about the kids. It's like what type of grandparents do you
Yeah,
want to be?
we want to be
right?
very
Like,
we want to be very involved. And I guess, but then again, I feel like every parent says that, and then maybe life takes over. But I will say, Sarah and I have already said,
well, let's be
well,
real.
we'll
though.
end up
What if the
by
kids
one
are-
of our kids.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Spot, it's nothing ideal.
Do you choose?
Our point is, if we're in Southern California living in this house,
How do you choose which kid?
right? If we're in this house, knock on wood, for another 25 years,
Clearly, Emmy.
if we're 25 years from now,
Ben's a beast. He's
if we're 25 years from now and we're here, and in 25 years from now, Emmy is in her late 20s with like a boyfriend living in Scottsdale, Arizona, and Ben's like, well, I'm living in New York, Dad, or I moved to the East Coast. Sarah and I are not going to be in Southern California by ourselves when our kids are in different places. Yeah, you can't be near both of them, but I think that would be our priority when we're older, to be near one of your kids.
You think that now,
Yeah.
and I would
Well,
like to think you'd think that in the future, but
yeah,
you can't say that. I'm
but
sure
we're
your
not-
dad said the same
Yeah,
thing.
no, but no,
I'm sure
not
our
true.
parents said the same thing.
No, because your parents
And
have
that's-
lived it.
And
no,
that's the beauty
no,
of this.
No,
Steve actually has a
Different story.
great problem because both of his kids
different.
are in Houston.
I think. I
So
think
that's actually, he's got a benefit
Oh, I
there.
have an answer for him. My answer for him is simple: move to Houston, you moron.
Move to Houston, man.
And I'll say
But
moron.
what about his parents?
And what about the fact that he doesn't want to ever live in
he can live
Texas?
anywhere.
And his
if anything,
brother-
like Florida.
The reason why we're different than our parents, though,
And his brother.
the reason why we're different than our parents. Spot's amazing parents, rest in peace, lived in Jersey their whole life. Your parents lived in Jersey their whole life. My mom and dad. My dad was born in Queens Village. He lives in the house he was born in. My mom lives in Long Island. She grew up on Long Island, never left Long Island. You and I've lived in New York, Brooklyn, Jersey, Hope. I've at least moved around the area.
Brooklyn,
and then
Bronx, Queens,
and then
man,
we
the
moved-
whole New York City.
Listen, and then-
I love you to death.
we moved
And you
to
don't stop.
we moved to Southern
And you
California,
don't quit.
and I married a woman from South Texas. So we already are way different than our parents as far as the openness to doing that. Right? So to say, well, maybe I'll what? Change my mind? Like we already talked about how you can live anywhere. Our parents don't believe in the mentality of I can live anywhere. I can live anywhere. If someone offered Covino and I $1 million contract to move to Nashville, I can live there. If you said, hey, Covino, Rich, Spot, big money, move to Dallas, I could live in Dallas easily. Our parents didn't have the mentality of like, oh, I can live there easily. They were like, nope, I'm a Jersey guy. Nope, I'm a New Yorker.
As far as growing up on the East Coast,
This guy,
the furthest
Steve,
that our parents' generation goes is Florida.
Has he considered moving to like a neighboring area, but like still close?
I don't blame the guy. He's a very New York guy.
Like,
So a
about
very
like a-
New York
like a-
guy,
what does
that mean?
slightly older than us. What
Like
does that
a
mean?
San-
It means
you're
he
New
goes
York-
to
you're New-
Texas and doesn't feel like he wants to
what
be
about
there.
like an Austin
I get it.
or a San Antonio? Like, how far are they from each other? Not.
5-6 hours from Houston.
I get it, but I think the answer's clear, man. If you
They
want
look so
to
much-
be, and you have to factor
They
this
look
in.
so close on a
Hold on.
map.
Today's grandparent is not our
I would
grandparents.
say a 6-hour drive spot.
Today's
Really?
grandparent is
Hold
not
on.
our grandparents. So
5?
It depends how involved this dude wants to be in his future grandkids' lives.
3 hours. 2:45.
Wait, Austin's only 2.5?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I thought it was like 5 hours.
2:45. 162. So probably to San Antonio, let's say it's like 3.5. Yeah, I mean, he could move to one of those towns or even like, what is that, Beaumont? How's that? How's that place?
Beaumont. My buddy lived in, but my friend Darcy lived in
What about,
Beaumont, Texas. I've been there. It's nice, but
Maybe
that's
after-
that's sort of near the Louisiana border,
What
right?
about like Galveston or like something on the coast?
Yeah, listen. People can live anywhere, and they're just scared to. Trust me, I'm a New Yorker who had a lot of New York. Like, I'm cut from New York cloth. I love New York. I live in Southern California, and I love it here. I can live in South Texas. If you told me, if
grandkids over here.
you're telling me like, hey, move to Texas, I could do that in a minute. If Covino was like, yo, bro, we got the greatest opportunity. We have to move to DC. I fucking move to DC. I really think that people overanalyze where I can live.
Like DC Ben.
Are you not adaptable? Do you come on? What are you? Are you that stuck in your own weird ways? Like I only
this
live in.
guy's a little older than we are.
Then
Like,
stop
why are
it.
you acting everyone's like you? Not
like-
everybody's like you.
It's like, and doesn't there come a point where you're like, don't get me wrong. I love weather. I love foliage. I love snow. I don't love living in it.
Dude.
Doesn't he want to be like, let me go to a warmer climate where I never have
New
to deal
Yorker,
with
bro.
shoveling or
I-
New Yorker. I mean,
slush?
he likes Florida. He said he wanted. If anywhere, you got to realize too, man. People have their own fucking dreams and goals. I'm saying this for the sake of conversation. I agree with you, Rich. The answer seems obvious.
Wasn't his dream to have a
But
family?
He wanted, if he was going to move anywhere, move to Florida. Palm trees, right there. His brother's there. That's the people he wants to be around right now.
Palm
That was
trees,
his
man.
vision. Like Florida,
Palm
Jupiter.
trees.
I loved it there. Now all of a sudden, it's Houston. That was never a part of his plan.
Thanks, Sarah.
So, like, you got to factor that in. Never part of his plan. Houston's like saying move to the moon.
I know.
You know, it's like, hey, what do you mean move to the moon?
You know what?
I,
I mean,
I
we-
said on Florida.
We have a unique perspective because we've been to.
Houston is like moving to the moon.
We've
To
been
him,
to,
it was
to
never
him.
part of his plan,
It's
ever.
not-
He's never been there. It's this his two daughters decided to move there, and he's
Can
like, so now they're deciding where I'm going to move and live the rest of my life?
Can I ask you a truthful question?
Tell them to move to Body of Christ,
Can I,
Texas.
can I ask you a truthful question?
I'm just saying on behalf
No,
of
no.
him.
I gotta ask you a truthful question
Yeah.
because I think fear should not exist in this dojo.
Does it?
But I think in a lot of people's dojo spot, it does exist, and I'll tell you this. Houston, we have a problem. That's a reference to This Is Us this past week. So dumb. Houston. Going to Houston, fear exists in change, and you always talk about how there's an update on your iPhone. People hate it. There's a new logo of a product. People hate it. People hate change, and they have a hard time adjusting and adapting. I think that we don't give ourselves enough credit. And I say, you don't give yourself enough credit how adaptable you are. You remember your freshman year of college spot when you went down to Maryland? Mm-hmm. That was a new experience. You were in a new state with new people living in a dorm with no one you knew.
Yeah, and I was a scared little puss.
Yeah, but and didn't it all work out after you got over those initial fears of being away from Jersey, being away from your mom?
I'm very adaptable, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying, Spot, I think a lot of people are. We're humans. We're adaptable. We adjust. I really genuinely think that most people are brainwashed to think, no, you're a Jersey guy. You stay in New Jersey. I'm telling you. What would Steve, this guy's Steve,
No one's
ready?
saying that.
We play it out. Steve goes down to Houston. What does he do in New York?
Everything.
I'm genuinely asking.
His whole life has been here.
But what does he do in New York that is so specific? Like, oh man, I can't get Taylor ham. Oh man, the bagels aren't as good. What is on Long Island that this guy's like can't fucking leave this place?
It's funny you say that because I'm pretty sure he works in a specific industry in that
Specific
area.
to New York. Rich.
Yeah, look. I'll write it down for you.
Rich, I mean, you went through this struggle with your mom.
Oh, and by the way, I think I finally got through to her. You know, to be determined because we never know what happens with Marianne. Those things change on the day to day. But my mom finally, I think, saw the light of maybe I'll move to Florida, Richie. It's cheaper, the weather's nice, and I'm getting older. It's like, oh wow, so like you're not letting fear like. There's no business for my mother to be on Long Island.
She sent her to Jupiter, but like actually Jupiter.
Her and Pete Davidson in a fucking spaceship.
And send Butch to Uranus.
Yeah.
So I think we all are more adaptable than we think. And I think this guy, Steve, for as much as he's like, yo, I don't really like Houston. Does he like his daughters?
Yeah, I think the fact that both of his daughters are in one state, he might have to go to Houston.
You know what? Maybe, I have an idea.
Or
How
maybe
about you chill until you have grandkids? And then the minute his daughters like start having families, you know, willing that happens and that they want that to happen. If Steve starts having grandkids,
Like he can visit them.
then you're talking. But if his daughters are just living their single life up in Houston, he can visit them and be a good visiting dad. But if he's a single guy and he's like, where do I want to spend my golden years? Once he has grandkids,
Well, the reason we bring this up, I
Golden
mean,
years.
it's all relatable, but we will all get to this bridge one day. And he's fortunate that both of his kids are in the same state because most likely Ben will be somewhere else and Emmy will be somewhere else because the world's a smaller place.
Picture
And then
Ben-
you're going to have to figure out, well, what do I do?
Ben's going to be like in Montana wrangling horses.
and if he is, then Sarah and I will buy a place in Montana, like a summer house or something, to visit Ben and see him.
I think the answer to this,
By the
because my
Dutton
parents
Ranch.
are living that life now, right? The answer is live somewhere where the kids want to come visit you. And I have to be honest, nobody wants to go to Jersey to visit my parents.
That's why when your dad wanted to buy that like lake house,
Although
you were
we
like,
love-
yeah.
Exactly. Like, dude, I love the house that my parents raised us in. I still do. It's like, I love that house and I love everything about it. But going to Jersey sucks. So if you really want to solve that riddle, it's like, well, then go somewhere super dope where everyone's excited to meet, like a central location if your kids are spread out. So anyway, Steve, we wish you the best. Thanks for sharing your dilemma. Turn it into Dilemonade. You got time, and you have a fortunate scenario where both your kids are in Texas. And, you know, I think we're all going to be there eventually.
I mean, your kids, I think it's the parents' job to, a lot of parents have that mentality of like, well, you're the one that left. But I think it's the parents' job who have way less going on in their lives to visit you. Right?
I mean,
many of them are retired, and many parents. All right, what's easier, right? Break it down. And I was super happy that we had such a great time when my dad visited here. What's easier for my dad and his wife, who are retired, to get on a plane, come here, and spend a week with their grandkids and son, or is it easier for me to pack up 2 kids, a dog, take them out of school, pack my radio equipment, and fly across the country with?
that's the thing.
You know, like, what's easier?
I'd love to take Melody to see my parents for Easter, right? But again, we're talking an expensive ticket. We're talking, you know, school and things like that. You know, getting her back on time. It's always more of a hassle when you got the kids.
Yeah, I mean, when parents
Especially
are
rich when you have 2 kids and
Little
a dog.
kids.
Little kids. Right? And
Melody could sit there and be occupied the whole time. Like I would, flying with 2
now
little
she
kids
can.
they have to be occupied. You know, I'm saying like now's an easier time for you. When they're little, they have to be occupied. You know,
There's always a hassle. You know, get her back in time.
Yeah,
for
your
her mom.
hassles are different too,
Quarantine her
because
before I send her back to mom's house. Like,
everyone's got
there's
their own
always
hassles
obstacles.
for sure. Yeah, no, I'm saying like your obstacles are different than mine. Mine are occupying little kids. Yours are playing by the rules of your ex-wife and school schedules and shit like that.
Right.
Well, I think Steve's answer only lies within his own. I mean, it's his question to answer, right? What's
tuned.
important to you, man?
We'll keep you posted.
I think stay with his elderly parents until he has grandkids. And then I think when he has grandkids and his daughter's like, Dad, you're a grandpa. And we're all down here in the same place and you're in New York by yourself. I think it's going to be pretty clear what he should do. The end. Spot is a palate cleanser. Can you play something I sent you? I think it's a little song that we could all relate to. I sent it to CNR on the message. I sent it yesterday at we could play 2 things. I sent you yesterday at
is this
3 in the
a
afternoon.
game we're gonna play? Was Rich on edibles when he sent this?
No.
Or do we all think it's funny?
I sent you something yesterday at 3 o'clock. A TikTok, and it's a little tribute and a little quote from the late Razor Ramon. And then after that, I sent you a video about how we all feel about the last couple of years of our life. So, as we know, Razor Ramon, the bad guy, Ayo, Razor Ramon, one of the best gimmicks of all time, giving the razor's edge, flicking toothpicks at people, NWO, Scott Hall.
Well, I'm going to bring it up in the Rando news, but Shawn Michaels was trending.
Is this a WWE
this morning
clip?
because of all the ladder matches.
No,
the
it's a
legendary ladder
it's a
matches,
Hall
yeah.
of Fame little quote that I saw on TikTok. It's a Hall of Fame acceptance speech, but someone edited it together, a little thing. So
Okay, let's give it a whirl.
Razor Ramon.
It might be good. WWE is very aggressive. But
Speed it up so his voice is very fast.
hey, all right, let's see.
Razor Ramon. Ayo. Throwing toothpicks. Top level bad guy. What do you say?
Hey yo.
They could have edited a little better.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Bad guy. Ayo, Razor Ramon, rest in peace. So we lost yet another iconic wrestler from our childhood. Now, on a more positive note, Spot, play the next video I sent you. I think it's how we all feel about trying to squeeze into some of the clothes that we wore a couple of years ago before the pandemic. I thought you would like this song.
All right.
It's catchy. I think it's super catchy. I think this, I mean,
Sorry, wrong clip.
this is as catchy as it gets. Yeah.
I no longer fit into my pants. I wore them last year, but then I gained weight. I no longer fit into my pants.
Maybe he was funnier when I was high.
That's funny. I like it. Year, but then I gained weight.
Well, you might as well get into the Rando news before we get into anything else, since you brought up Scott Hall. Rando news of the day. I mean, we all feel that way for sure, definitely. But again, on somewhat of a mission, but then, you know, Vegas and everything got in the way.
Yeah. Like you're allowed to treat
I'm
yourself in
heading to
life.
Vegas again tonight. Like, geez Louise.
What's your first story?
First story? I mean, I was going to continue with Razor Ramon, I guess. News. Rando news. Covino and Rich. Hey, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall passed away 63. And like you said, Rich, one of the greatest heels of all time. You know, he's getting an outpouring of love, which is really nice to see.
No, what I
Like,
did
you knew
notice.
he was impactful, but I'm not sure I realized how impactful, to be honest.
I mean, the NWO was.
Yeah, but I
One of
think
the
it's
biggest
nice
things
to
in
see.
wrestling
it's a good
history.
thing to see. I don't mean that in any weird way whatsoever. I'm saying like the outpouring of love of this guy is kind of cool.
I think it was
Scott
a little
Hall-
past your time, maybe, because it almost missed me.
No,
Because
I'm
Razor
very
Ramon,
well aware of
no, Razor
Ramon.
Ramon stayed popular once you were done with wrestling. Is what
No,
I'm saying.
I'm very well aware. I'm just saying it's nice to see like the outpouring of. I didn't realize how much impact he had to everybody.
You know what I noticed as well
I thought he was just
over
some
the
dude that I liked.
over the last couple of years,
Yeah.
and I think I like it. The sports world acknowledges these things now because it is sports entertainment. Like when a Razor Ramon dies, it will get a mention on Sports Center or Fox News or Fox Sports Radio. Or
Yeah, think about it. The guys hosting these shows are guys who grew up with this shit. So it's different.
So what I'm saying is, back in the day, sports networks sort of ignored wrestling because it was entertainment, and then they didn't even categorize it. And eventually wrestling started to infiltrate. But now you notice, like, if Scott Hall dies, it's on one of like Fox Sports Radio's, Fox Sports, and ESPN's main stories. It's
So
like, hey, Scott Hall died.
Razor Ramon all over social media. But then again, like I said, I woke up today and Shawn Michaels was trending. And I'm like, wow, no. Why is Shawn Michaels trending? And it's because of the legendary ladder matches that he had with Razor Ramon. So I was watching a lot of clips of that. So rest in peace, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. 63. Yeah, it sucks. That's too young, but he battled a lot of health issues. This is a terrible story. I'm just going to acknowledge it because I couldn't even believe it. I'm going to mention one story. It's going to sound off color, but just for perspective. The other day on Fox Sports Radio, right? Mm-hmm. On Fox Sports Radio, we were talking about Tom Brady and how he's out of retirement. And we jokingly said, how many times do you think we're going to say Tom Brady today in that 3-hour span? It seemed like we said Tom Brady like 300 times. The answer was 167 times or something like that by the end of the show.
That's funny.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a clip yesterday. It was Stop the Asian Hate. I was like, oh, what happened now? Some piece of shit punches a woman, some Asian woman, right, in the lobby of her building, I think. It was like by an elevator. 67-year-old Asian woman in Yonkers punches her.
Junkers?
Knocks her down, continues to punch her 124 more times. Oh
God.
Totaling 125 times. And you're like, get out of here. And I sat through this clip and I just could not believe what I was seeing. He knocks her down in one punch. Can you think of how many times you said Tom Brady's name? Can you imagine punching a woman and being so hateful and being such a piece of shit
that at no
punching
point
a woman that many times?
Yeah. Well, that's like when you see these crime shows and it's like the person was stabbed, and sometimes the number is extraordinary.
Yeah,
you're
like
like
27
you're like, they were
times.
stabbed 28 times. That means someone's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Not enough. 25 more stabs.
Trigger warning.
Like, really?
This guy punched
Jesus.
her 125 times. Yonker cops say 67-year-old Asian woman. He called her Asian bitch.
Jeez.
Stomped, spit on her, everything else. Friday night, 42-year-old Tamil Esco is charged with attempted murder, assault, and a hate crime. The victim suffered contusions, facial and bone fractures, brain bleeding. Stop the Asian hate. Like, that shit was too violent. Like, don't even play it. Like, it's gross. I'm just saying, like,
plan on playing it.
Stop the Asian hate. And when you hear, actually, you said it best, Rich. Like, when you hear the number of times someone stabs somebody, you're like, yo, that person was having a maniac moment.
Right?
Because
it usually would be like
125 times.
Oh, they had 28 knife incisions, and it's like, yo, imagine like someone had a Rachel moment and they stab someone like, that's 4.
Not to be
that means they just 20. That's amazing to me.
Not to be completely
What
inappropriate.
a maniac. Like,
but I don't
punches
even stroke
over
my
a punch a second for
I don't
2
even
seconds.
stroke my dick that much when I jerk off.
2 minutes. Yeah, exactly.
To like stab someone or like punch someone. That's
60, how did a 67-year-old woman survive this brutal attack is beyond me. He was pummeling her for over 2 minutes straight. I mean, I'm just doing a punch per minute. A punch per second.
Thanos was right.
Horrible.
Think of it this way.
To get rid of all these people.
I'm surprised his arms didn't get tired.
No, I know that sounds like you're
No, it
making a
doesn't.
joke.
Like when you hit a speed bag or something.
Yeah.
Like
I
after a
thought
certain.
that. I did think that.
And look at it this way. Someone even pointed out, not even trying to be funny.
Like to aggressively
in a fight,
punch someone.
a lot of times the punch count, like through so many rounds of boxing, isn't even that many punches.
Yeah, it was sick. It was sick, guys. It was gross, and I couldn't believe my eyes. That was someone's, could be someone's grandma. I don't know her actual scenario.
That was 50 right there, and I'm tired.
100.
Jesus.
What sort of piece of shit rage do you have to be in?
Yeah.
To do this to an old lady.
Force.
So that happened in Yonkers. This is kind of cool spot. I didn't send it to you, but I will right now. There's a festival called Louder Than Life. I'll look it up. That I'm just going to mention because I thought it was a pretty sick lineup. Get this. It's a 4-day festival in Louisville, Kentucky, right?
Is this guy going to be there?
Yeah.
I wore but
He's headlining.
then I gained weight.
He's headlining with Nine Inch Nails.
My pants.
So I bring this up because I was really tough on the When We Were Bung tour.
You were
The When We Were Bung festival. So
I can only imagine this is going to be like.
Oh, there's a lot of great bands. Louder Than Life was announced a few days ago, but there's a building hype around it. I'll just throw it out there for anyone that wants to go see a show in Kentucky in September. First night, Bring Me the Horizon, Nine Inch Nails, Evanescence, Hailstorm, Tenacious D, Highly Suspect is great.
Oh wow, there's a lot
Me and
of.
Andy Rivera saw those guys.
How do I see
The second night, Slipknot, Shine Down, Lamb of God, Mastodon, In This Moment. Yeah, that's pretty good. Slipknot headline, that's pretty cool. Shine Down's great. Third night, you got Rob Zombie, Kiss, Alice Cooper, Chevelle, Jerry Cantrell.
Rich, you going?
I'll be there.
And then the last night, you like the last night, Rich. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Alice in Chains, Incubus, Papa Roach, The Pretty Reckless. Again, some of the bands that stood out to me. There's a lot more than that. Those are just the ones that
You're a rock
stood out
fan.
to me.
This looks pretty awesome.
Well, I've never seen Kiss before, and if you're ever gonna, now's the time. Just
Are they
throwing that
back
out there.
Are they back doing their makeup?
Yeah, this is their final run,
All right.
as far as I know.
Yeah, if you're a rock fan, looks pretty sweet. Not my style, but I even think there's some appeal there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, speaking of shows, I'm thinking about seeing, I think this is a pretty cool show. Every once in a while, our buddy Rob is like, dude, how about this show? And I'm like, it's not getting me out of my seat. He goes, bro, how about Alice in Chains? I'm like, absolutely. Who are they playing with? Alice in Chains is on the road with Breaking Benjamin and Bush. I'm like, Gavin Rossdale Bush? Because I don't like Bush. Gavin Rossdale Bush? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I'm like, sweet.
No, Jeb Bush isn't a.
I'm in.
Jeb Bush is in a punk band.
I'm in. But anyway, that's just a news alert that, hey, life is like full on pretty much back to normal. I mean, these festivals are being announced left and right. There's a lot of great shows. Louder Than Life, Aftershock, Rockville. We're talking massive shows, massive festivals with big names. That Rockville show I just mentioned, Rich?
Yeah.
The headliners are Korn, Foo Fighters, Guns N' Roses, and Kiss. Like, that's sick.
Yeah.
So a lot of great shows when we were, like I said, when we were young, just not my thing, but still a huge show. Lots of cool shows in the future. More life to live. Go have your fun. Again, that's in September in Kentucky. I thought this was pretty cool. Yesterday, Jake Paul was in the news. This was on World Star. I'm a big World Star guy.
World Star.
We have a great relationship with World Star. He, in Most Valuable Promotions, are offering $30 million each to Kanye. To Kanye and Pete Davidson to settle this like men. And Jake Paul goes on this like little baby righteous rant of, before the kids are affected, you guys need to settle this. And I'm offering you, and I'm like, $30 million. $30 million each? That's $60 million. Spot, I sent you the clip. Courtesy of World Star.
$30 million each.
That's bonkers.
I got a question.
Like
who
the fact
who
that
you
this-
got?
I mean, it's never going to happen.
Who you got?
You never know, but
Who
it's
you
never
got?
going to happen.
I know, it won't
Pete
happen.
Davidson, he's 6'3", and he's long and lanky. Never underestimate the wiry strength of a guy built like that.
Yeah, but
I made the
don't
mistake-
underestimate
Nah.
the power of the yay.
Nah, I'll underestimate the power of the A all day. DL Hughley will beat him. They got some beef going
Yeah.
on, right? So Kanye actually, after DL Hughley said that he needs to take his medication because he's harassing Kim Kardashian at this point and it's not right, Kanye made a public post telling DL Hughley to relax because I have enough money to hurt you. Like, he's powerful enough to hurt this guy. So here's Jake Paul.
I hate Jake Paul, but this should be fun.
Kanye West and Pete Davidson, Most Valuable Promotion certified. I got $30 million for each of you, guaranteed, plus pay-per-view upside for a 6-round boxing match. Let's make it happen. Let's settle this beef like men before the children keep on getting impacted by all of y'all's antics. Let's get it done. Make it happen. I have an official offer for Kanye
but
West and Pete
I don't
Davidson.
even care about the fight. The fact that this guy
Could get that money
can
together.
garner
$60
$60
million.
million plus pay-per-view
$60 million.
incentives. That's,
Come on.
Yo, say what you want about these influencers. That's crazy money, man.
crazy.
Pete Davidson might say, yeah, why not?
Oh, by the way, I'm so mad at myself. Last night during The Bachelor, Jesse Palmer introduces a first look at the new Hulu Kardashians reality show.
It looked phenomenal.
I told
It was the greatest trailer I've ever seen.
Spot. I said to my wife,
you don't mess with the family.
I turned to Sarah and I go, I've never, and I'm being serious when I say this.
You've never kept
Covino over the years with his ex-wife, and I don't know if Jordan watches, but there were times
loves
where
the Kardashians.
I was gonna say, Covino's always sort of kept up a little bit with the Kardashians. I never have.
Barely, but I have.
Maybe on a flight, maybe flipping through the channels, I watch 15 minutes here or there, but I was never a keeping up with the Kardashians person. I don't hate them. I think they work hard, and you can laugh at that. I think they do. They're great at marketing themselves. The Kardashians, to me, entertaining, but I never watch a show, and I'm not proud of that. I'm not like
seen it.
Spot. I'm not like fuck the Kardashians. I just never got into it.
I would.
This trailer. Pause it a second. This trailer.
It's good drone footage.
It was one of the
The
best
trailer
trailers ever.
and they call it the sizzle, the little
the
teaser.
music, the drama.
I said to Sarah, I go, why after 20 years am I now wanting to watch
It's
this?
on Hulu now. It's a different production.
Because your mind is a ball of clay. Impressed by
I'm not even joking. They make
good
this
trailer.
They make this trailer make me want to give a shit about people who I haven't given a shit about in 20 years.
For those who hadn't kept up with the Kardashians, they
telling-
called it quits. They said no more. They left E. They were at E for all those years.
Well, they
E
did
Entertainment.
it. You know why they did it? So they can now gain control of their own empire.
Exactly.
Yeah, Seacrest is out.
Yeah.
Now they're on Hulu. It's a different production, and they came out sizzling on ABC.
I want everyone to keep
last night.
I want everyone to keep an open mind.
Nope.
Everyone keep an open mind because Spot, I've never watched the Kardashians, but this trailer, I'm like,
have.
Sarah, am I high or does that look like the most interesting reality show ever?
Oh, I felt the same way, and I hate myself for being interested at all. So
Trust me, it's not as interesting as you think it is.
Spot, just press play,
it was
turn up the
well-
volume,
it was
and tell
well
me,
done.
tell me that this isn't a. If anything, you could say F the Kardashians, F Kanye West, F Kris Jenner, but you have to admit, whatever production crew or company put together this teaser, because it got a grown man saying, "What? This looks interesting." Watch.
Life without cameras was a big change for us.
Oh my God.
Travis Barker.
It's time to see a whole new side of the family.
I have those things.
So how does it feel to be back?
We've had so much time off. We've kind of gone into our own worlds. I'm excited for this new chapter, and I've been in this game long enough to know that you just have to be yourself.
They're gonna like you for who you are, not what you wear. I'm just kidding.
I love
obviously.
He's the best. Kissick is back.
My
He's the
pregnancy
best.
is really public this time.
He's the only voice of
I feel
reason.
like we're being chased. Tristan and I are complicated.
Trust takes time.
Travis and I want to have a baby.
Put the sample in this cup.
We'll take our mics off. You don't get the audio.
This is a relationship that I don't think anybody saw coming.
Who are you texting, Ken? Does his name rhyme with feet?
It's so easy to comment on people when you have no idea what they're actually going through. It is really hard with Kanye. He told me my career's over.
Why are we always making excuses for the people that traumatize us?
I'm out. This is so ridiculous.
We have all the time and all of the resources to burn them all to the ground.
Never go against the family.
Never go against the family.
And I said to Sarah, I go, why am I interested in watching the show? I'm Greg. Christy's with us. Christy Lewis hit us up.
Because you have no taste in television.
Christy Lewis hit us up saying, same Rich. Never watched, but totally watching this. I don't know why. It
Speaking
just
of,
looks great.
You know, it's big. It's big news. It really is, whether you like it or not. So, in other trailer news, during the Bachelor finale last night, you saw that, and you saw a lot of hype around the Disney movie, The Red Panda. What's it called?
I don't know. I didn't.
You don't know anything about it?
No.
I keep calling it The Red Panda because it's a story about a red panda. And there's a lot of controversy around it because...
Turning red.
Turning red. and it's about a red panda. So Turning Red is the latest Disney film, and I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't. Because it's for kids 8 and older, but parents are not reading the fine print of this movie, so it's kind of on them. However, you expect a specific brand from Disney, right?
What is it about that makes it 8 or older?
It's about, ready? I'll be very blunt about it. It's about a preteen girl who gets her period, and when she gets excited about boys or anything else, like there's some sort of sexual feelings she's experiencing, but she's got her period now and she turns into the red panda.
That's really weird.
It's very weird.
Interesting
for
take.
Someone under 8. So, they're promoting that.
I mean, not all movies are meant for all ages.
However, if you are 8 or older, right, I could see how this could make something that shouldn't be taboo
be normal. Yeah,
be normal
yeah.
for, a kid my daughter's age or when she was in that age range, right? But you're getting a lot of little kids and parents who are not expecting that out of this film.
I wear what I want, say what
Tamagotchi.
I want, 24/7, 365. I know, it's a lot, but I don't got time to mess around. How about that hustle, am I right? Poor town. This is gonna be the best year ever, and nothing's gonna get in my way.
What?
Yeah,
Is that Zool?
it's a little like grown up for kids.
Breakfast is ready. It's coming. It's gonna be me.
But if you read the description,
Gross red monster.
I mean, there's a lot of innuendo here, right? We're figuring it out. If you read the description, nothing alludes to that. So there's so many parents being caught off guard. Like this is a little sexual for like a 5-6-year-old.
That's the controversy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, think what you want. It's
Puberty turns her into a
red panda.
A red panda. All right. Hey.
I don't know.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's not like she turned into like.
So yeah, Matt Franz said he was thrown off at first, but rolled with it. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's about puberty. Yes, Andrew, it is, which should be normalized. That's what I'm saying. It's an awkward time.
Yeah, I just
right?
don't know. Yeah, I think 8's a great thing because you're right. I don't think this is a movie that Ben and Emmy would understand and be like, why is she? It's.
But then again, so then who cares, right? If they don't even get it, it's over their head.
Right.
But it's like, why? I don't know. So you're seeing a lot of rumblings about that online. They were advertising that last night with the Kardashians. In other rando news of the day.
What could men turn into?
Redwoods.
Redwood tree.
My boner's like. Mom, I'm a redwood.
It's a girl version of Teen Wolf.
Yeah, pretty much. But I know there's scenes, and again, I haven't seen the movie. Also, keep that in mind. Haven't seen the movie. This is stuff that I'm reading.
I mean,
hearing.
and also,
there's parts where the girl's doodling.
Yeah.
And she's doodling like her and a boy kissing together, but she starts getting hot and heavy. And again, confusing feelings. I get all that. Yeah. Normalizing it. And then she starts turning into the red panda.
Kids
hormones.
don't think like adults. So for a kid, it could be way over their head. I mean, so. Yeah.
But not what you're expecting. It's just not what you're expecting.
Yeah, everyone says it's the same premise as Teen Wolf. Like multiple people.
That's funny.
All right.
Well, there you go.
Doc, you try to tell me I turned into a wolf? Doc.
Let's see. The Seahawks are no longer connected to Deshaun Watson.
Are we going to sports?
Rumors. Well, yeah, I mean, not a whole lot, but so the Seahawks for a minute were speculating maybe Deshaun Watson's the guy.
Or Colin Kaepernick.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. But you're also hearing rumors now that Kaepernick has been training and he's ready and he's in the quote unquote best shape of his life?
Probably. He's early 30s and he hasn't been banged up. So he's
got fresh legs.
Yeah, fresh legs.
So
I would love to see Kaepernick back in the league just to see what he's got.
I feel like the fact, and this is our own speculation. I haven't read this anywhere. I'm just connecting the dots. If Seattle's saying they're not interested in Deshaun Watson, put those rumors to rest, right? And Kaepernick is healthy, and the public is throwing him out there as an option. Are they keeping that possibility open?
I think so.
I think that's kind of cool.
I don't think
he seems to be a cool fit for that.
I don't think it's out of the question at all. You're right. I think you saw a couple things go down already. I think it's pretty cool that Mitchell Trubisky's getting a second chance in Pittsburgh because
Steelers.
He sort of got a raw deal with the Bears, and the Bears were sort of stinking, and he was the number 2 pick overall only a few years ago. So I think there's still a chance for Mitchell Trubisky to show what he's got. And again, I think it's an interesting situation, right? Taking over for Big Ben. He's a fresher, younger player. So Mitchell Trubisky getting a chance. Deshaun Watson linked to possibly Cleveland now, which means what happens to Baker Mayfield? Is Baker Mayfield a thing of the past? Grand opening, grand closing for Baker Mayfield? So that should be interesting, and I think you're right. I would love to see Colin Kaepernick, because if he is awesome, it's like, wow, what a cool story, and if he stinks, what a cool story.
Hey, by the way, whether or not you agreed with his stance, which was him kneeling, ironically, it doesn't matter, because in the court of public opinion, everyone came around. The majority of people came around.
Yeah.
And was like, yeah, he's kind of right about this.
Think of all the bozos that said, I'm not going to watch the NFL anymore because of Kaepernick kneeling. They had the highest ratings of all time.
If everyone else came around, right? Because he was way ahead of the game here.
Yeah.
If everyone else came around, why is he not in the NFL? So it would be a cool redemption story for the guy.
Let's see if he's got the skill set.
Of his career taken away from him.
Just because he's throwing some sweet passes in a practice. Let's see if he's game ready. And if he is, it would be cool to see Kaepernick back in. And I believe Mark hit us up saying Trubisky's sort of a gaps, so what do you call it, a stopgap for Pittsburgh's next big quarterback, whether it's a draft pick or another trade down the line. But he's going to get a chance. And sometimes guys start out as a stopgap and they make the most of it. This guy was a number 2 pick overall a few years ago. So who's to say he doesn't have the juice with a new coach, a new team? You saw what happened later in Alex Smith's career. Certain guys get an opportunity at a later point. And I would love to see what Mitchell Trubisky does with his chance. Because, hey, unless something happens, he's going to be the starter there, and it'll be fun to see if he's got anything.
And to wrap up our sports update, just an update here, Rando News on Covino and Rich. The hottest chick in all the baseball land, the number 1 domino, is Freddie Freeman. And now I'm hearing Boston's throwing their hat into the mix. Boston, Toronto, the Braves, the Dodgers. He's the hottest chick going right now. Everybody wants a piece of Freddie Freeman. Reigning Atlanta Braves champion, first baseman.
MVP 2 years ago.
Wherever he goes, that's when the dominoes fall. But who's going to get him? I don't know.
I hope the Yankees get him.
I mean, I hope they get him too.
I just want him out of my fucking league.
See, that's funny because
you know why?
I only know him from playoffs and World Series. Like, I never watched him that close.
He's really
he
good.
Must be, when you see his stats and what he brings to a team, you're like, damn, this dude is way better than I thought.
Freddie Freeman.
I don't watch a lot of National League. That's why. So.
Yeah, the same way I was so happy to see Russell Wilson leave the NFC West.
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman, get that dude out of the National League East with the Mets. To be honest, the 49ers, whatever makes their path easier, I'm a fan of. And everyone feels that way about their team.
He's gonna get paid, bro.
So to me, I realize that the 49ers only have to play one AFC team when it matters, and that will be in a Super Bowl, and if they win or lose. Same with baseball. I want every good player in the American League. So when you're like, yo, I hope the Yankees get everyone, because the only time I would ever have to worry about that is, God forbid, the Mets play the Yankees in the World Series. So, get Freddie Freeman, get Correa, get everybody.
Think about it, though. Think of how hot, think of what a fine-ass Freddie Freeman must have to have. Listen who's chasing after him. Atlanta, they're the former champions, the reigning champions. Atlanta.
The Braves are out, by the way, now. Because they just signed
Blue Jays.
Bleacher Bum's right. They just signed Matt Olson.
Okay,
You don't get Matt Olson.
Matt Olson is the other. He's like the.
No, what I'm saying is,
so then they threw their hat.
Yeah,
they're done.
that's the Braves pretty much saying like they're like to bring it back to the Bachelor.
That brings it
to
back
bring
to
it back
the
to the
Yankees.
Bachelor.
Yeah.
The Braves are saying like we can't get the hottest girl, so Matt Olson will take you.
Matt Olson was also in the mix for the Yankees, so now that eliminates him as a possibility. So do they really just throw crazy money at the guy? Yankees, Blue Jays, Red Sox, Dodgers, like every major team wants a piece of that ass. So Freddie Freeman, good for you, man. That dude's going to get paid. I'm excited to see where he ends up.
Oh, let me ask you
how
one.
the dominoes fall and how much money he gets.
Let me ask you one more sports question. By the way, thank God Pete Alonso's alive.
By the way, Matt Olson's on who? He's on the Braves?
Yeah, he just got signed.
Okay, so he got signed from the
that was
A's,
yesterday.
the A's to the Braves.
Yeah. Two more quick notes. Pete Alonso, thank God this guy's alive.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Did you see that Pete Alonso, Polar Bear Pete, slugger, home run champion, Pete Alonso.
He's on his way to spring training.
On his way to spring training, and someone ran a red light, and Pete Alonso's car flipped 3 times.
With his wife in the car.
With his wife, and he kicked out the windshield and seems to be fine.
Yeah, he says, just a reminder. He's thanked Ford for their engineering.
Engineering.
He goes, but just a reminder that, you could be alive and well 1 minute, and then the next second you're kicking out your windshield. Stay safe, everybody.
You ain't kidding.
Yeah, that's scary. That's scary shit. Flipped over 3 times and he's fine.
Damn.
Yeah, that's frightening, dude. Honestly, that's traumatic in my opinion. Imagine your car flipping over 3 times. I'm good. That's why I'm telling Spot to slow the fuck down all the time. We in a rush to fucking flip over 6 times? I'm good.
Flipping over 3 times. That's wild.
So
right?
that's your rando news of the day. March 15th, 2022. 2 days away from the big St. Patty's Day celebration.
It's the Ides of March.
March Madness.
Beware of the Ides of March.
Beware of the Madness.
I feel like I had another sports question for you.
Madness.
Madness.
Madness. Good.
No, I feel like I had one more sports question for you.
Done. Save it for Fox Sports.
Oh
Fox
no,
Sports.
I got what it is.
Bro,
I
Ian
got a
Kennedy
couple.
Doesn't want to hear about it.
I got a couple. How do you feel when
Ian
one of
Kennedy
your
tuned out?
How do you feel when one of your most hated players goes to another team? Aren't you sort of like good riddance, but you're like, oh, now they'll probably be good somewhere else?
Yeah, Gary Sanchez.
Gary Sanchez is going to be MVP.
Fuck
now.
that guy. I hate that guy.
The Mets.
Lazy Sanchez.
Who always comes in your mind when I say, oh, Mets blew a save? Familia.
Yeah.
Familia is now a Philadelphia Philly.
They're all so ripped, and there you are. You're looking at your life. You want to be a star in all the years. And no one knows just how hard you worked. But now it shows with one shining man as his cheeks are divine. With one shining man as I wish his glutes were mine.
I love when you hit the high note.
Yours is short, John Ham's is long. He's got athletic thighs, admiring ain't
Bulletproof
wrong.
thighs.
Glorious buns.
Glorious buns.
Will you choose? Forget that belly chest. His ass just lit your fuse. With one shining man ass reach down deep inside. With one shining man ass inspired your man pride.
Man pride. Here it is. Magical.
With one shining
Brings a tear to my eye every time.
Happy March Madness. Have you filled out your ass bracket yet?
I haven't. Wow.
Sorry.
One shining man ass. March man ass.
Are you going to fill out a bracket? I know our boss at Fox is like, hey, if you guys want to do it. I did it. I'm like, ooh, is Covino going to be the team player now? Or is he going to stick by his fuck bracket theory.
I mean, I can still fill out a bracket and say fuck brackets.
That is true.
But yeah, we're in the middle of March Madness. Madness.
How do you?
March 15th.
This has less to do with sports and more to do with just culture in 2022. How do you guys feel about a group hug? Now, how do you guys feel about the female tennis player, Osaka, getting really bent about a fan heckling her? I saw your boy KFC on Barstool go through a whole he was very safe about how he presented it, and I loved how he did it. He was like,
"It's my boy."
You love that guy.
I mean, you love him.
I do. Since
Yeah.
when?
I'm almost, sometimes I get insecure. Sometimes I get insecure that he's your favorite white guy.
Oh, I didn't know.
He's really good though. I like his 1 minute man stuff. But he did one on Osaka, and it's a very interesting thing. Spot, do you even know what I'm talking about? The female tennis player, Osaka, grabbed the mic and was like, made a deal about a fan heckling her and mental health. And now we're getting to a point where it's like, listen, mental health is important, but maybe sports ain't for you if heckling fans are throwing you off that much.
Yeah, but maybe we're thinking wrong about it. That's why I brought up the Russell Wilson thing. I'm sorry, Russell Westbrook thing. Where, yeah, heckling's a part of the game, but like, do you have to be personal about it? You're just being a piece of shit. Remember, it's one thing to heckle Westbrook about not being able to hit a shot, but when you're talking shit about his family and threatening his family, like, are you just a fan or a piece of shit at that point?
I
Yet
get
we're
that.
making all these exceptions for pieces of shit because they're quote unquote fans.
Hey, Spot, go to Barstool for a second.
If we're all so woke, and I hate using that word, but if we're having all these awakenings of like, yeah, you know what? Maybe we were wrong about that. Maybe we're wrong about how we treat these athletes.
I mean,
they're people, right?
I agree. They are people, but I'll give him props because he does a great job. I feel like very in our vein of delivery.
But you have to know heckling comes with it. But there's like a line, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine.
KFC on Barstool, Spot. It's like 4 rows down now.
I'm not getting soft, Rich. I'm just saying, like, maybe if we're on a quest to become enlightened and better people and different ways of thinking that in the long run is probably the right way.
Listen, I'll give someone props when they do a good job. Play the 1 minute man.
I didn't
says
see it.
tennis star, Spot. And it sort of breaks it down perfectly so that we don't have to explain it. He fucking packaged it perfectly. Shout outs to Barstool and KFC. Tennis star Naomi Osaka and how she's dealing with hecklers. There's a line between, are people fucking rude, or is maybe a girl, a woman like her, cut from a cloth of mental health, maybe not cut out to play professional sports? You be the judge. What's the matter, Spot?
I was just checking him, looking at him, check his hair.
Oh. All right, go ahead, hit this one.
This weekend after being heckled at the Indian Wells tournament, an event that's basically like a fifth major in women's tennis. After crying on the sideline, she asked the judge if she could use her microphone to address the heckler, and after losing in straight sets, Osaka, whose mental health has been well documented, tearfully thanked the crowd and began to compare herself to Venus and Serena, who boycotted the event 20 years ago. Now, don't get me wrong, this heckler was going hard. It was like, you suck, you jackass. They found the heckler down the street at a Sizzler and said her original plan was to try to mow her down with a Volkswagen. But what are we doing here, folks? We're crying because one person said you suck, and then you start comparing yourself to two girls who were berated racially to the point that they said they felt like they were up against a lynch mob? Now, I know how difficult it can be, and it breaks my heart to watch this girl struggle, but at what point do you say, maybe professional sports just isn't for me? Because this sort of stuff comes with the territory in this profession. I hope she gets over this, and I hope she gets back to kicking ass, but I don't think it's going to be by removing every single individual who's mean to you at a professional sporting event. 24-year-old.
Yeah, I mean,
all right, but at what point, too, do we expect a little more from
fans?
A fan in public?
I get it, but
he's got a point,
dude.
He's got a point.
Like our thinking's just not there yet. Like, it's backward thinking.
Everyone's got a
Josh
point.
Donaldson makes his debut at Yankee Stadium. Strikes out his first few at bats. The crowd's gonna be like, "Fuck you, you suck. We traded for you."
It's fine. And boo,
you suck. Boo.
That's fine.
Because she's a 24-year-old woman.
No, that's fine. But when you start saying things you would never say
You
to someone,
suck. The person was just saying, "You suck."
You would think with the amount
Fuck
of
you suck.
mental discipline it takes to achieve greatness in a sport, that mental discipline would come with tuning out the so-called haters.
Bro, it's not easy to tune out hate and noise. We all get that. In fact, Covino
Clear
and
the
I,
mechanism.
Covino and I, over the years,
Worked for Kevin Costner in For the Love of the Game.
When we do what we do, and when you're on radio or television, and you put yourself out there, you're open to criticism, and I get it. Covino gets it. Picture what we go through on a 100 times more level on your Naomi Osaka. But if you're a professional tennis player, I just can't quite understand how you don't understand. That would be like any other sport. Pick a player and saying that they got upset that the crowd was heckling. Hey, we played at Arrowhead Stadium, and the Chiefs fans were really tough on us. Like, I heard the crowd booing me. Oh, are you okay, Baker Mayfield? Like, imagine if a professional athlete other than her.
Although I agree, man. Like, you gotta have thicker skin. I get it.
Because she's a woman and said she had mental health issues. We're trying to do the right thing and protect her, but it's professional sports.
Okay. So think about it. Who should you be mad at?
Russell Westbrook is mad that people are calling him Westbrook.
No, he's mad that they're bringing his family into it.
They
were
weren't
shaming
bringing
his
his family
name.
into
They
it.
were. His family was getting death threats. There was so much to that story. They were bringing his family into that. They were shaming his name. It was beyond him.
He made it sound like it was just about his name being tarnished.
Yeah,
but there was a lot to it. We only played like 3 clips of it.
Yeah, I know.
There was a lot to the story.
If his family was actually receiving threats,
that's one thing.
That's one thing.
Okay,
but
so-
if they were just saying Westbrook and he was annoyed that his family
I'm
shared
just
a
saying,
name,
if we're going to be
that's on him.
consistent on our stories and takes and how we're evolving as a people and our way of thinking, right? Why are we defending the piece of shit that's publicly like harassing a young woman?
Jason Nichols says Osaka's a young girl. She's 25.
She's a young.
Do
25-year-old woman.
people go to your job and heckle you when you're 25?
Yeah. So my point is,
I'm not a
why are we
professional
defending
athlete.
that guy when everyone else is there, well behaved? They could boo her or whatever, keep it generic. I don't know, but you're well behaved. People love this woman. We're gonna defend the one piece of shit who's like being an asshole. I'm just questioning that line of thinking.
I get it. I don't do it. And
I'm questioning the line of thinking.
The number
that's
one
all.
Covino and Rich rule is, well, hey, would you do it? And the
I
answer
wouldn't
is
do
no.
it.
I wouldn't go heckle a 24-year-old female tennis player. But people do, and
so who's the jerk off in that
tell
story?
you. I don't know what to tell you,
So
bro.
who's really the jerk
The
off in
jerk
that
off
story,
is the
then?
heckler, but
Okay. Should she be stronger than that? Yeah, she's not.
I don't know, man. It's a changing world.
It's a different generation of people.
The world would be a better place if everyone had the thick skin of Dickie Davis. You ain't kidding, Becker.
Or people could not be pieces of shit, right? So
I agree. What about LeBron James, who will
I'm just saying-
LeBron's gotten people kicked out of courtside seats because they're too loud. He's like, get this joker out of here. You see LeBron yelling at his teammates yesterday?
this is like
Get a fucking rebound.
Yeah, but this is just another way of old school thinking and trying to hold on to it because that's just how it always was. That doesn't mean it's right.
So
Like,
you
yeah,
always
man,
thought,
what do you mean we used to tell the fucking team to go fuck your mother? Does that mean it's the right way because it's always been the way? Isn't that the line of thinking that we're trying to change on every other issue in the world?
Good luck. Good luck getting a stadium full of 20, 30, 40, 50 football, 70, 80, 90,000 class acts.
No, it's
Imagine
not gonna
that.
be. It's not going to be.
But
So
then what defines home field advantage then, Covino? Home field advantage, I'm not saying it's all you sucks, fuck you, but what makes something home field advantage? That the visiting team is uncomfortable and they're almost taunted. That's sort of what is home field advantage. Making noise when they're at the line of scrimmage, yes. But what gives the Yankees a disadvantage when they play up in Fenway? A bunch of Boston jerk-offs telling the Yankees to go
Trying
fuck
to win
themselves.
a baseball game over here.
I mean, you go to Fenway, and it's a bunch of roughneck Boston dudes taunting and mocking and screaming at the Yankees players. It's a hostile environment. That is sports. I'm not saying it's right, but are we supposed to be like, let's all change on a dime because Osaka is a little, her feelings are hurt?
It's normal as we've known it and grown to have known it, but is it right? I mean, maybe that's the question that people are starting to pose.
It's not right. Be a better person, but I mean, I don't know, man. I know what I think is very interesting in the world of baseball.
What's true is, and you can't change it, she's a 25-year-old young woman.
with emotions
What
and
kind of
feelings.
piece of shit is heckling a 25-year-old woman no
Agreed.
matter what?
That makes you a piece of shit.
But
and you can say that's sexist
of
because
course I think
I find it more acceptable to mock a fucking 30, 40-year-old man. I mean,
but of course I see like, man, can this generation be any more soft?
What type of loser mocks a 20-something-year-old woman? I get that. I don't know, man. I'm thinking more about it, and you're right. Just because it's happened in the past doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah, I'm torn on all this stuff. You know, it's like, yeah, this is one of the things that we're going to want to hold on to, but that's an old school way of thinking, right? Like, I don't know, like the word retarded.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I used to say it all the time. I want to still say it.
Well, it's wrong. Exactly. It's not. It's
but it was never wrong before.
Well, it is.
Well,
and we were,
hey,
yeah,
look,
it
you know,
is.
like, all right,
but we were
fine.
wrong. Yeah.
Okay. It's the same thing. It's like, why can't we heckle the athletes? Fuck them. They suck. Right? But it's like,
Not
yeah,
right.
but hey, they're people. Why are you doing that? I guess you're right.
You make changes when it's right. I just
Because maybe this
And
is how
that's what I
change.
was getting
Maybe
at.
this is how change is done.
I don't, you know,
By
I
her
don't care what
speaking- by her
AFC
speaking
says.
out.
That's what I was getting at with Russell Westbrook. Like, I kind of felt what he was saying.
By people speaking out, maybe it will affect how people treat the players, the athletes.
I think there's a line.
And I think home field advantage comes from, well, depending on the sport. You know, baseball is it's your home ballpark. Traveling, there's still advantages.
Yeah, but the advantage a lot of times is
Home,
based in
you're
the
getting cheered.
it's based in the culture
Plus,
of cheering and booing.
Aren't tennis matches really quiet?
That's what I'm saying. So
Aren't they like
the
quiet,
one guy.
Quiet, please.
Look at
quiet,
it.
please.
Look at it from the.
So who's the guy? This guy's the problem.
Yeah, I agree.
It's tough.
I think it's a sliding scale, right? It's like there's a sliding scale. When Russell Westbrook and some of these NBA players have people heckling some racist personal shit, that's way different than you suck, man. You suck. Go Celtics. You suck.
Exactly.
Like, but I think that
and then we got this like old school archaic way of us trying to hold on to some shit.
No, but we have to differentiate what I just said. We can't link it all together. You know how a lot of times, Spot, when it comes to the Me Too movement, where did people start getting wrong? Because they started linking sexual predators with guys that just told dirty jokes. And a guy that told a dirty joke on the set in 1988 is not the same as some gropey shithead, right? And we were sort of linking it all together. It was like, man, it's all the same. No, it's not all the same. And I'll tell you what's not the same. Someone saying some racist shit or someone saying some personal stuff about someone's kids versus someone just being like, yeah, hey, go Lakers, you suck. You suck and taunt. That's sports. That's cheering. We gotta realize that personal attacks and racism and stuff like that, no good. Telling someone they suck and cheering for your team and just being a fan, that's normal behavior.
I can get behind that.
When the Met fans used to chant Larry, Larry for Chipper Jones.
That was great.
Or everywhere Darryl Strawberry went, they'd make fun of him, Darryl, and like get in his head. Were they supposed to stop doing that? You might hurt Darryl Strawberry's feelings. Don't say his name.
No, I'm all for that.
I think it's when it gets racial and someone's talking about your kids or your mama. Don't talk about someone's kids, their
We also
mama,
have to start
or
realizing that they're overpaid athletes. So what? They're supposed to take your abuse?
Yeah. Nope.
You know,
But
at what point is it like just?
I think we just made the line right there.
Yeah. So
let's not compare someone telling an NBA player they're the N-word
and
someone telling Osaka they suck.
I don't
Those
know.
are like in my mind
I don't
so
know what
different.
Osaka was dealing with. Was it just straight up you suck?
You suck. If it's you suck, sorry to tell you, grow up. If it's some racial shit, if someone was saying some Asian stuff about her, that's different. Don't you see the difference? All right. Yeah, two more quickies in the sports world, and then we'll call it a day.
But still, again,
quickies.
You're heckling like a young woman. Like,
Yeah,
what a
that's
loser.
ridiculous.
What a
Yeah,
loser.
honestly, that's
like I don't care if she was on the opposing. Like I'm not doing that. Even if I wanted her to lose, like that's just really lame behavior, man.
honestly, I think about that all the time. When people even when people say stuff about like female celebrities, I'm like, you're insulting like a young woman. Like, what type of loser are you?
Yeah, so
Really?
you got to keep that in mind. That's kind of where I'm leaning.
Grow up. Two more quickies in the world of sports, but they're more like pop culture. One's like COVID gone wrong to the highest degree. I think we've all realized now that so many of the theatrics that go along with COVID-19 are eye rolling to the highest regard. The favorite one would be, there's two favorites of mine. going into a restaurant with a mask on, going to a crowded restaurant with a mask on to the front desk, but everyone at the bar and at the tables, no one has a mask on. Theatrics. Hey, your kids go to school. When they're in the classroom, mask on. When they're at recess and they're hugging and running around and going down the slides together outside, no masks. Theatrics. None of this makes sense. Did you see that the Nets got fined? So get this, Spot. I don't know if you know this. Kyrie Irving, right? Who's been playing COVID chicken for the last year. He can't play home games because the New York rules are still in place for state workers. He was able to sit courtside and watch his team
on Sunday.
I know, but he was. It gets more. He was able to sit courtside and watch his team play, but he couldn't play. And then the team got fined because he went to the locker room to say hi to his teammates after the game. So the Nets were fined $50,000 because Kyrie went to the locker room with his teammates. When do we just say enough is enough? Like,
I have a question. Did press have to wear masks if they went in the locker room?
I don't think so. No, it's all theatrics. At this point, it's like, come on.
So if he wasn't there in a professional capacity, then he shouldn't have been fined, or they shouldn't have been fined.
So
I know.
I thought that was just interesting. And I wonder if this. I even saw you saw LeBron and other guys sticking up for him, saying like, all right, enough is enough already. This is ridiculous. There's 25,000 fans without masks. We're on the court on top of each other. Kyrie can play with us in other cities on the road, but he can't be with us here. It's absurd. It's like,
because then it creates a slippery slope. It's the rule in town, and you can't just get away with breaking the rule. Sorry. You don't have to agree with it.
About saying keeping the
right.
press.
So it's okay. It's okay that he was sitting courtside 5 feet away from Kevin Durant as a fan, but he can't sit 5 feet away from Kevin Durant as a teammate.
I remember seeing the mayor say, like, you know, we have to set an example. This was prior to this incident, but like not letting Kyrie play. He's like, we have to set an example, and
that our rules are serious.
Yeah, and these are the people that
doesn't make sense.
You know how in the public, and we can't give them a pass.
You know how there's some things that are so silly and you just have to say,
yes,
it is what it is. Like Covino and I hosting an event as Covino and Rich for a company that doesn't want Covino and Rich anymore, but they want Covino and Rich.
Silly.
It's like Kyrie and Kevin Durant sitting next to each other on the court. Well, I mean, if Kyrie is 1 seat away and he's in a fan seat, no problem, everybody.
I mean, the whole joke, even in New York, was we didn't really see it that much here because of the weather.
Yeah.
But in New York, if you walked down the street, and I saw it last time I was in the city, they still have they built restaurants outside.
Yeah.
Just so you could sit in there.
Oh, it's a tent with no ventilation. So it's
no. They built actual plywood edifices that you could go inside that were
considered
heated,
outdoor. It's considered outdoor.
But it was considered outdoor because it
didn't have the structure. Yeah,
that's so dumb. So dumb.
Yeah.
We're going to look back at this shit and be like, how stupid was that?
Yeah, I hope so. I thought about the other day.
I think consistency.
I think it will be. I think it will be. I think our
not downplaying COVID, how it was handled.
Honestly, this should be a study in states' rights.
Yeah,
they should rethink the Constitution.
I think, and I think our next president is going to throw this off for a loop even more. When you think about probably DeSantis will be our next president.
Oh,
DeSantis will probably be our next president. I would say.
God help us all.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
Donald Trump?
I don't know.
Trump or DeSantis, unless they get in each other's way.
Got to put up someone. They need a moderate.
No, it's DeSantis.
Conservatively,
he's
moderate.
the guy. He's the guy. DeSantis wins.
I'd be the perfect president.
What'd I say it here? March 15th. DeSantis wins. Remember I said that.
You want to bet on that?
How much you want to bet? You give me any odds? You can't say even money.
Uppercut to the balls.
20 bucks.
I would say DeSantis because Trump has too many obstacles in front of him. People that don't want to deal with that divided nation that was created.
I'm going to tell everyone a little secret.
And the media, the left side of the media will shut anything he's putting out there down.
We know.
As we've seen this weekend he did a podcast for the Nelk Boys on YouTube, got millions and millions of views, and they immediately took it off.
There's major problems.
The internet.
I promise you.
Any, let's say, good word he may be spreading or anything he may be saying is going to get shut down.
DeSantis will be president.
On one complete side.
I promise you. DeSantis will be president. Spot, you don't know how many people. Well, what did you think I was going to say?
I was just joking.
Oh. You don't know how many people You don't know how many people hit me up personally that on social media come across as like liberal do-gooders that say, well, you know what I really feel. And I'm like, well, you're sort of a faker then, aren't you? But I had a couple people. Can I write down a name?
Sure. Rocket Dog? Interesting.
Yeah. Would you have thought that she's like, yeah. I mean, we would have been way better with Trump. I'm like, your social media would indicate that you're you're the fucking liberal of all liberals. People think one thing and say another to their friends. So,
I mean, do you think that all liberals would admit that Trump would have been a better choice?
I'm just saying,
based on your theory.
I'm just saying that we're gonna flip flop every election for the next 20 years of our lives.
Does that say Joy Behar?
Joy?
How did what?
I'm telling you, it's.
Does that say Whoopi?
And the gay thing too.
That's why I voted for Kanye.
Everything's eye rolling to me. All right.
That's just what's going on in the world?
I'll tell you what's going on in the world.
Yeah, we still have daylight savings time. Explain that to me.
Every 4 years, it's going to be a different party.
You know what I say about daylight savings time?
That's what I say.
DeSantis 2024.
I'm just trying to live my life over here.
DeSantis 2024, and then 2028 will be a Democrat, and then 2032 will be a conservative, and it's just gonna go back and forth for our lifetime. People are gonna vote one way because they're like, yeah, we're unhappy. Then they're gonna be like, well, I hate them too. Let's vote the other way. It's gonna happen our whole life. You'll see.
Get a petition signed by America's farming industry that says we don't need daylight savings time anymore.
Fuck out of here. Yeah, let's get out of here. Let's call it a day. Let's get the fuck out of here. How do you feel about Josh Donaldson and Garrett Cole on the same team? Did they handle it well?
He sounds very much like Patrick Mahomes, but lower octave.
I think we got to let bygones be bygones and just, as a professional, just get out there on the mound, play every day, and let the chemistry build itself.
That's what it is.
He's very like straightforward. Garrett Cole.
Oh yeah,
he sounds very much like Patrick Mahomes, just lower octave.
He called me out on something. He's a team player, and now he's on our team. And
I don't know how that's going to unfold and unfurl, but I'm excited to see the Milton Berle unfurl. If you know what we're talking about, Josh Donaldson, who's all clean shaven now, is a New York Yankee, but he's the guy that was saying nanny nanny poof poof to Garrett Cole, called him out for being a cheater. Now they're on the same team. I don't know how that's going to pan out, but drama show.
I literally think that Trevor Bauer at the beginning of all this was wanting to stop guys from cheating. And his big guy that he went after was Garrett Cole.
Now they're teammates.
And is it coincidence that Garrett Cole's spin rate numbers went down yesterday after 4 minor leagues get suspended for 10 games? Is it, is that possible? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, it's actually not all that uncommon for him to fill me in on stuff before it hits the wire. There's probably a little extra reason why he reached out specifically last night. But, I mean, look, if you're committed to winning a championship, this kind of stuff doesn't matter.
Listen, I've stepped in the box a lot of times. I've been whatever happened. Obviously, he felt like it was a better idea to probably strike me out, which he did a few times. So at the end of the day, I'm happy to be on the same team and not have to strike out against him more.
Wow. Sports. I mean, that was a big story.
Josh Donaldson took the high road saying like, yo, he struck me out. After I said that, I'm the big...
But
Josh Donaldson sort of...
Don't you think that Garrett Cole...
Sounds like a Muppet? Yes.
No, he sounds like...
Hey, listen, guys, this is the guy that was calling us out last year, so...
You don't think the other teammates still hate him because they were like, that's fucking lame that he's calling out our guy? You think Aaron Judge is like, yeah, we're cool? You don't think they all sort of ganged up? Like, we hate Josh Donaldson, and now he's on the Yankees? It's weird. But, hey, if winning's the goal, you put it all aside. But you know what the lesson learned is?
Let me tell you.
Don't talk shit. That might be your colleague, in the next year.
Can I tell you, there are some guys in sports that could put aside all their personal differences because they care about winning that much.
Yeah.
Two of those guys being guys that are so different. Richard Sherman, right?
And Tom Brady. Well, they didn't like each other.
Richard Sherman talks about how one of the best players he's ever played with on the field, Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is a super conservative. Politically, ideas, everything, way different than Richard Sherman. But there's no one that Richard Sherman brags about being a better teammate than Nick Bosa. So some people could say, off this field, off this court, we may not see eye to eye on things, but on the battlefield of a sport, I want to play with you.
Cool.
So
I'm excited to see. I'm sure they had to run it by Garrett Cole and the Yankees before they picked up the guy.
Okay,
well, he was so outspoken against them.
Time for us to ski-daddle, but one last question for you to think about tonight, Covino, because you saw it there in the clip. I had a question.
Did you say skeet-daddle?
Yes, Pete Skeet-daddle. How do you feel? How do you feel about the corny-ass Yankees no facial hair rule, considering, it's 2022. Steinbrenner's...
as a professional, it rules are rules, and just move forward and shave my face.
What if
get on the mound, and it's just part of the job.
What if Josh Donaldson? Honestly, I'm being serious. He didn't sign as a free agent. He got traded. What if Josh Donaldson's like, nah, I'm not going to shave. You can't force me.
My feelings are changing.
But what if Josh Donaldson? What if Josh Donaldson?
Changing feelings.
What if Josh Donaldson said, "No, dude, I got a weird chin, and my wife likes my stubble and facial hair, and I played my whole career. I didn't choose to be here. I got traded here. I'm not shaving. I'm a former. I'm a former MVP.
Sometimes you need rules. You need structure. You need that, because then what happens is some people take the liberties to look like hobos because they can't police themselves. See what I'm saying? I mean, it sounds political, actually.
Yeah.
Without these guidelines, people don't know how to police themselves. And then you got guys looking homeless on these other teams, and that's a professional.
Well, but it's also a kid's game, Kevino. There's nothing professional. It's a kid's game. It's baseball. They're hitting a ball.
You say a kid's game? Some people say it's a career.
It's a career.
Okay.
It's a career, but it's a kid's game.
That's also the criticism that Westbrook got. Guys, this is a game. No, it's not. It's your career. And, there's rules for a reason, because people end up looking homeless. And what kind of look is that on as a professional player?
Yeah, but it's not if he looked like a hobo, players have facial hair and beards and goatees and mustaches.
He's capable of pleasing himself. He'd look good, right? I think there should be a middle ground, but there isn't.
I had a friend, our buddy Sampson, right? Ryan Sampson, before he worked at SiriusXM, Ryan Sampson got a job as a program director in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah.
And the radio company was owned by I think a religious group. And they wanted him to show
Creed?
up. Yeah, Creed. Vertical Horizon.
Jars of clay.
They wanted Sampson to show up every day with a button-down shirt and a tie to be on the radio.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to take the job if that's the case.
Hey.
And they said, okay, you don't have to wear that. Because it's like, really? You're playing 162 baseball games and you got to be clean shaven because 50 years ago, George Steinbrenner said so?
Is it that much of a request when they're paying you millions and millions of dollars? I ask you that.
Yeah, but, I mean,
I'll shave my fucking ass cheeks for millions and millions of dollars. Yes. Yeah, I would.
But he didn't choose to be on the Yankees.
Can I isolate that?
Tough titties. They're the ones paying him. What, Spotty?
Could I isolate you say, I'll shave my ass cheeks for millions of dollars?
Sure.
It's my favorite line.
Yeah, let's raise it. Go fun, Steve. Let's do it.
Shave those ass cheeks.
All right. So thank you guys.
Have a good one.
Baseball's heating up. Enjoy your Tuesday.
Hot stove.
The Bachelor finale. Bachelor finale tonight. Woo! Yeah. I'll be heading to Vegas.
I'm going to make some popcorn.
I'll be heading to Vegas tonight, hosting something for SiriusXM later this week. So we will have our show tomorrow.
By the way, the greatest thing I ever received was a SpaceX prize pack. And inside that SpaceX prize pack is a microwavable popcorn bowl.
Okay.
So you just put the kernels on the bottom. It's rubber, so it expands. Has a little steam lid on top. And in 3 minutes, you have a fresh popped bowl of popcorn. No oil, no butter, just... Look into them. They make them. You can microwavable popcorn things. You don't need oil. And then you can put whatever you want on top of those little shakers.
Make some popcorn. Watch The Bachelor. Covino's back in Vegas. We'll be live tomorrow.
Throw some toothpicks at people in honor of Razor
Ramon.
And have a good one. Arrivederci, baby.
See you in the promised land.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.